This girl, right? Just got dumped by her boyfriend. And to make things even worse, she's stuck with his bank loan debt. Like, a few million won. So, to forget all the crap going on in her life, she went out and got completely wasted on alcohol. Therese, this homeless guy nearby, and Hez chuckling to himself, just watching her. She's thinking, man, is he thirsty or something? So, she offers him her bottle. Here, take it. The homeless guy takes the bottle, chugs down a swig, and then tells her, if you want to change your life, you gotta die and be reborn. A little kid is standing at the edge of a lake, playing around, and he slips and falls in. She sees him struggling, but she freezes. She can't swim at all. And there are other people around, but nobody's paying any attention. The kid is flailing and yelling for help. She can no longer take it. So she starts running and screaming, talk about bad luck, and jumps into the water to save him. Shez struggling to swim towards the kid, and just then, a total solar eclipse happens. Like the sky goes completely dark. The kid's dad finally shows up in a boat and pulls his son out of the water. But the second he gets the kid on board, some weird, powerful force pulls her down. Down to the bottom of the lake. Shez thinking, okay, this is it. This is how I die. Her mind starts going fuzzy, and all these bad memories start flooding back. Shez sinking closer to the bottom, and all she can do is stare up, as daylight turns to darkness. Then, she sees this guy in a mask, riding a horse right into the royal palace. Apparently, this is the fourth prince, and Hez infamous for being a cold-blooded killer. Meanwhile, 6 other princes are chilling out, taking a bath when bam, Hesu suddenly pops up out of the water. Shez totally time-traveled. Her clothes and hair are all different. She looks around, completely disoriented. Who am I? Where am I? Am I dead? While Shez trying to figure out what the heck is going on, she turns her head and sees the 10th prince staring right back at her. They lock eyes and both scream at the top of their lungs. The other princes hear the scream and turn to look. Just then, a girl calls out, "Lady!" making Hesu realize she's being addressed. She immediately bolts and runs away. The princes, curious, start chasing after her. Her maid, Che Ryong, manages to get Hesu out of there. All the way along, Che Ryong keeps calling her, "Lady." Finally, she stops and asks, "Where the heck are we? Is this Beijing? Shanghai? Korea?" Che Ryong acts like Shez lost her mind, answering back, "This is the biggest place for bathing and doing laundry, my lady." Hesu glances around, seeing guys and girls everywhere, naked, bathing. It's chaos. She is totally rethinking her life, convinced she really is dead. This has to be the underworld, she thinks, and then she faints again. Outside the city, a man is talking to the 4th prince, Wang So. He tells him that Hez the adopted son of the Wang family, and so he should bring honor to the family in front of the emperor. He just scoffs and replies sarcastically, "I thought I was just a hostage." When he rides into the palace, he brutally kills his horse, which freaks everyone out. Hez making it clear he doesn't intend to stay. Back in her quarters, Hesu wakes up and sees the silhouette of a woman. She assumes it's a Grim Reaper, further convincing her that Shez's dead. The woman calls her Hesu, but she keeps saying her name is Ha Jin. The woman thinks she's lost her mind. Hesu grabs her arm and pinches herself, and is like, ouch, this is real. Then she runs outside to check things out. Could it be true that Shez not dead or dreaming? The others find her and tell her, "Lady, don't go there and come here. You're not well," and order a doctor to be called. The maid explains to her that she is at Sung-A, the residence of the 8th prince, Wang Wook. Hesu realizes that she has returned to a time when everyone is allowed to have many children. He says that it is true. Che says, "This is Goryeo." Hesu thinks to herself, "I am so screwed up. Without a phone, how am I going to go back to my life?" Goryeo in 941. Emperor Taeho Wangjian is in court. He throws a birdcage to the ground and accuses someone of plotting to kill the crown prince. General Ta asks the emperor to remove the crown prince and appoint another. But when the emperor asks if there is anyone fit to replace the prince, the other princes volunteer to be the next in line. It is revealed that all of this is part of a scheme by the queen and the left prime minister to take over the throne. Hesu is locked in his room, wondering whether he is dead, alive, or only dreaming. So, the 8th prince, Wang Wook, kicks the door open and rushes in to comfort Hesu. He tells her not to worry. Hesu thinks, "Well, I can't change anything right now, so I might as well try to live my life here." The next day, she goes for a walk with Che Ryong, hoping it will help her remember things. Finally, she figures out Shez in the Goryeo era. So, she decides to check herself out. She pokes her cheeks and realizes they're firmer than before. Plus, no wrinkles, and the skin on her hands is softer and more elastic than it used to be. Wow, being in the past is awesome, she thinks. Hesu even cracks her knuckles, and now she can breathe without getting tired. As they're walking by the lake, they see the 8th prince's wife and him strolling together. Suddenly, Hae Soo thinks, man, the guys in this period are seriously good looking. She asks Chae Ryong who that is, and Chae Ryong says, that's the 8th prince, and He's the most handsome guy in my heart. She says He's handsome and kind. She said it's sad they are a married couple, and the two should not even think about him. But Hae Soo reminds them that He's already married, so they can only think about him. When Hae Soo turns to look, she makes eye contact with the 8th prince. They just stare at each other for a moment. Then Princess Yeonhwa walks by. Chae Ryong immediately curtsies, and then quickly helps Hae Soo to bow as well. Princess Yeonhwa says, since She's lost her memory, She's forgotten her manners. It's not good, but she can learn again, so it's fine. She also says she'll punish her harshly if she dares to look at someone else's husband again. Hae Soo can tell by the look in her eyes that She's not a nice person and loves picking on people. She stands up and snaps back. If you don't like it, don't look. What did you say? The princess asks. Chae Ryong, scared, nervously laughs and says, I'm sorry, princess. My lady's mind hasn't fully recovered. Princess then directly threatens Hae Soo and asks her, what did you say? Hae Soo, wanting to argue, starts cussing until the 8th prince runs over to stop them. He takes her to his study to talk. Being the husband of her cousin, the 8th prince feels obligated to take care of his cousin. She responds, saying that although she is hurt, relying on people is not her style. She turns and leaves. Later that day, Hae Soo is making lanterns, but she can't get the flower petals to stick right. Luckily, Chae Ryong comes to help her. The princess sneers and says, if you're not feeling well, maybe you should just rest in bed. Hae Soo snaps back and tells her she can make her do anything. Yeonhwa then tells her servant to escort her to where they mix the mud. Hae Soo agrees. Her face shows worry because this is the most physically demanding job in the palace. After only 3 minutes, she can't catch her breath. Her back and neck are killing her. Now she realizes Princess Yeonhwa is deliberately trying to make her life miserable. She doesn't care about the mud, jumps in, and starts doing exercises to relieve the pain. The 8th prince walks by and watches her for a while. He teases her about working hard. After he leaves, she immediately lies down on the floor and goes to sleep, not caring if the mud is burning. When she wakes up, she sees someone walking by. When she sees his face, she suddenly remembers. Isn't that the homeless guy from before? Hae Soo thinks, maybe if I follow him, I can go back to my own time. She starts chasing after him, but she can't catch up. On the busy street, a guy on a horse is riding like a maniac. He doesn't care about any own safety. Just then, Hae Soo is running on the road. When she turns to look, she stumbles backwards, almost falling into a stream. Luckily, the guy quickly reaches out and grabs her. She stares blankly at him, with a look of love and foolishness. Looking at his hairstyle and eyes, Hae Soo thinks, could this be my true love? But her dream is short-lived. Suddenly, the guy drops her on the ground. She's in pain and thinks, men in ancient times have no honor. She starts arguing with him, but he doesn't understand a word She's saying. He immediately turns and leaves. Hae Soo grabs the horse's reins and says, you think you can do whatever you want because you have a cool hairstyle? You don't care about anyone's life. She even yells at him, asking, are you even a man? You just dumped me like garbage. The guy thinks she's kind of cute, so he lifts his horse's head to scare her a little. Hae Soo gets startled and falls backward. After He's far away, Hae Soo starts cursing at him. Then a nosy woman comes to her and says, you're lucky you're still alive. But Hae Soo tells her you should call the cops. The woman says that it was the 4th prince. Hae Soo asks, why is he a prince? How many sons did his dad have anyway? Chae Ryong runs up, saying, oh no, this is bad. Princess Yeonhwa is furious. We have to get you back to the palace now. Okay, I'm screwed, Hae Soo thinks. Everyone is gathered, and Hae Soo can only hide her face, afraid of the princess coming after her. She is so scared, like a coward, as she hides behind a wooden pillar, trying to avoid everyone. Just then, the 10th prince spots her. The prince asks her if she's the person who stared at them when they were bathing a few days ago. This is a sensitive topic. Being a girl in the past, if she admits it, isn't that as good as signing her death warrant? She immediately crosses her eyes to fool him. The two of them struggle for a moment and accidentally cause Hae Soo to break a teacup. She immediately runs off, and 10th prince, Wang Yun, is now positive that it was her. So he goes after her, searching everywhere. As he passes by the maid's room, he finds a hole and creeps in, looking through. Just as he peers in, Chae Ryong turns around and sees someone spying on them. She starts screaming. Seeing that has been discovered, Wang Yun runs away. But Hae Soo blocks him and demands that he apologize to Chae Ryong. But the 10th prince scoffs. Why would I apologize to a maid? He uses his status to threaten her, knowing the maid wouldn't dare to answer back. The 10th prince is about to run off, but Hesu has no intention of letting him go. The two of them start fighting. The yelling and screaming bring everyone running. Everyone gathers around and stares, pointing and gossiping. It's the funniest thing that has happened in the palace in a long time. She uses all her strength and smacks Wang Yun hard on the head. She raises her hand to slap him, but the 4th prince stops her. The two of them make eye contact, and then the 4th prince leaves. Hesu thinks that it is finally over, but gets up and begins to confront him as well. If He hadn't shown up in time to stop her, there is no telling how long she would have bothered him. He takes her to meet her parents, who are Hesu's family in the past. He says she treats her like her own little sister. Now she's offended a prince. Her sister says if the emperor punishes them, 18 generations of their ancestors will be affected. But even if it means death, He will protect Hesu. Hesu is touched by these words. She sits alone by the grave. She feels like she has to find a way back to her own time. Just then, Ryeo runs up and sees that she's covered in dirt. She tells her to go take a bath. Hesu suddenly remembers the bathhouse from the other day, the place where she time traveled. So, in the middle of the night, she goes alone to the men's bathhouse. This girl has no fear of death. She sneaks into the prince's bathhouse in the middle of the night. At the moment, 4th prince, Wang So, is there. He goes into the water and looks at the scar on his face. Suddenly, a girl pops up from under the water. Wang So quickly covers his face, while Hesu is standing there, confused. The 4th prince asks her if she saw anything, but Hesu doesn't dare say anything. She is silent. Wang So grabs her by the throat and says, "Forget what you saw or your face will end up like this." Is this love? Because out of everyone who has seen his face, Hesu is the only one who hasn't been killed. As he leaves, the 4th prince accidentally drops a hairpin. After he leaves, she finally dares to breathe. She was scared to death. Hesu picks up the hairpin and then takes the lantern to go home. When she gets to the door, she sees everyone standing outside, searching for her in the cold weather. She suddenly feels a wave of warmth. Her sister asks, "Where did you go? The whole family was worried about you." Hesu is thinking about how, back in modern times, she was dumped by her boyfriend. But now, here, everyone cares about her. She's actually starting to like this place. Ryeo is drying her hair, while telling her everything about the 4th prince. She says he's a cold-blooded killer, especially to anyone who sees his face. Hesu thinks, "I'm lucky I'm still alive." But then she thinks that may just be rumors and actually isn't true. Cut to a woman, it's Queen Yu. She's soaking in a bathtub, plotting to kill the crown prince. She's been waiting for this chance for ages. During the New Year's Eve celebration, she plans for the 3rd prince to kill the crown prince during the exorcism ritual. Meanwhile, Hesu and Ryeo are strolling through the city. Hesu has never been to a festival in ancient times, so she's as excited as a kid. The celebration starts, and everyone stands in their places. The eunuch announces that the princes have arrived. The exorcism ritual officially begins. It's a royal custom at the end of every year, always held at the main hall. All the princes participate and wear red robes, representing justice. The person wearing the mask must be the crown prince, wearing black robes, representing evil, to symbolize driving away evil spirits, and praying for a good new year for the country. The royal concubine praises the emperor for choosing a worthy successor. Suddenly, a group of strangers rushes in. The royal astrologer, Jimong, senses something's wrong and orders the guards to protect His Highness. But the assassin's target is the crown prince. The princes jump in to fight the assassins. After a fierce battle, the assassins manage to stab the crown prince, but only injure him. Seeing that their plan has failed, the assassins try to escape. At this point, the 3rd prince's expression is really strange. The 8th prince orders his men to chase after them. Once the danger has passed, the emperor rushes over and removes the mask of the person in black. It turns out to be the 4th prince. The crown prince is still by his side. Finally, the emperor is relieved. Even though they are all his sons, the 4th prince can only suppress his frustration. He then grabs his wound and chases after the assassins. The crown prince wants to go with him, but the emperor stops him. He assures him that the 4th prince will catch the culprits. He chases them all the way outside the city. Just then, Hesu, who was enjoying the celebration, sees him. Out of curiosity, she follows him. She also wants to return the hairpin she had previously picked up. Very quickly, the 4th prince catches the assassins. Hesu goes into the forest and witnesses a horrifying scene. A bunch of masked men lying dead on the ground. She's terrified and almost gets caught. Meanwhile, Wang So is negotiating with the assassins. The assassin is about to reveal the truth when Hesu accidentally shows up, ruining it, and gets kidnapped and used as a hostage. Wang So has no choice but to use reverse psychology. He directly says, Just kill her. She's just a girl. Why bother saving her? The assassin isn't paying attention, and Su bites his hand and escapes. But at that moment, the assassin is killed by the 8th prince, throwing a knife. The 4th prince is furious because the only witness is dead. He angrily scolds Su, but the 8th prince puts his sword to his throat. One is fierce, the other is gentle and warm. Out of brotherly love, Wang So lets Su go. Even though she's still scared, she remembers seeing the group of masked men being killed. When everyone arrives, they find no one around. Wang So thinks she's lying, but the 8th prince notices a lot of blood on the ground. Finally, Su feels relieved and sits down and starts crying, leaving the 8th prince unsure of what to do. He can only use his shoulder to comfort her. Back at the palace, the queen and 3rd prince plan another assassination. Since their previous assassination failed, the plot to assassinate the crown prince failed, and the queen and the 3rd prince hatched another assassination plot. On the other side, Princess Yan Hua is treating the 4th prince's wound. The two are close to each other, and the atmosphere is awkward. Princess Yan Hua has always liked him. On this side, Su is also bandaging her wounds. Because she wanders around and causes trouble, her sister thanks the 8th prince for helping her out. The 8th prince says, "It's nothing," but Hes clearly getting more and more interested in Su. The 8th prince goes in and urges her to go to sleep already, which makes her even more stressed. To break the awkwardness, the 8th prince lights all the candles. Seeing this, Su says worried, "Won't you have nightmares?" The 8th prince says, "If seeing something like that gave me nightmares, I wouldn't be a man." She asks, "Have you always seen it like that?" It turns out that 2 hours ago, she was taken hostage, and the culprit was killed by a flying knife, because the death scene was too terrifying. The 8th prince lights candles to comfort her, but Su, because she time traveled, doesn't know the real reason. Su doesn't know what he saw and is worried. Wang Wook says, "If just seeing a dead person gives you nightmares, I would have been scared to death when I was 3. Thinking about it, that makes sense, and she laughs like a child. As soon as the 8th prince leaves, Su goes to the bathroom with Ryeo. Unexpectedly, she runs into the cold-blooded killer, the 4th prince. Ryeo quickly turns around and leaves, but Su is terrified. Suddenly, the 4th prince grabs her face and forces her to describe the appearance of the assassin. Just then, the 8th prince shows up, saving the day. Su says the assassin was wearing a fur coat. Wang So immediately remembers that the 3rd prince also wears a coat like that. To prevent Su from getting killed, the 2 princes warn her that she shouldn't say anything. The 4th prince then leaves. The next day, the emperor summons the 2 princes. Because the 4th prince took an injury for the crown prince, the emperor allows him to stay here and investigate the matter with the crown prince. On this side, Su is in big trouble because the princes are having an afternoon tea by the lake, and the emperor has arrived and accidentally discovered the wound on the 10th prince's face. When asked about it, the emperor says, "That's outrageous. The dignity of the royal family cannot be trampled on like this." Seeing his father furious and wanting to protect Su, the 10th prince says that if the word spreads, others will laugh at him. He kneels and begs his father to drop the matter. Then, he rides his horse to find Su to atone for his sins. On this side, Ryeo tells her what happened. With her understanding of ancient times, she worries and asks Ryeo if she could get a death sentence or be beheaded. But then she thinks, "Don't think too much about it. It'll probably be okay." Just then, the 10th prince appears. Seeing her, he immediately confronts her, first demanding that Su thank him because he stopped the emperor from punishing her. Next is a love confession show with Su. Hes stuttering and embarrassed and can't get the words out. Su looks at him and wonders if he likes her. Finally, he asks Su if she can come to play with him often. Su agrees without hesitation. The 10th prince is as happy as a child. To adapt to the court etiquette, Su starts practicing with a wooden pole, but in the eyes of her sister and the 13th prince, she looks like a kid. Says the two of them are very similar. At this point, he can't help but laugh. Gradually, the 13th prince becomes interested in her. While the 3 of them are investigating the mastermind behind the attack, they accidentally discover that all the bodies have had their tongues cut off. This is suspicious. The royal astrologer, Ji Meng, says that in folk custom, monks who break the rules get their tongues cut off. These people are soldier monks who are often hired to kill. It's possible that the perpetrator turned them into assassins to cover their tracks. Their gathering place is the temple. Based on Su's description of the previous assassin, plus the information at hand, Wang So immediately goes to find the 3rd prince to question him. He asks, "Are you the mastermind?" The 3rd prince refuses and says he is spitting out blood. He asks again, "Is the mastermind your mother?" At this point, the 3rd prince is silent. Looking at his expression, The fourth prince finally understands who the mastermind is. He didn't expect his own family to be the ones responsible for this terrible thing. But instead of exposing them, he chooses to clean up the evidence. He immediately rides his horse to Phap Vuong Temple. At the same time, the crown prince is leading his troops there. He gets there first and kills all the soldier monks, not even sparing the abbot. Then he burns down the whole temple. When the crown prince arrives, the temple is nothing but ashes. All the evidence has been destroyed. In the middle of the night, he goes into his mother's room, covered in blood, and tells her the good news, hoping she will change her view of him. But she curses him as a beast and kicks him out. Even though he only did it for her, she says, "Don't call me mother." Even though his mother has treated him like this since he was a child, he still doesn't hate her. He says, "Please remember this. From now on, you will only have me in your eyes." Even though he was pardoned by the emperor, he didn't get a single word of comfort from his mother. In the evening, he remembers how his mother treated him worse than an animal, and how his brothers are always wary of him. He feels that living in the palace is very lonely. He angrily kicks over a gravestone. Just then, Hei Su, who is there, sees him so angry and runs out to stop him. She hugs him tightly, refusing to let go. Hei Su's stubbornness comforts him so much. The fierce man suddenly feels warm. Even so, he tries to act tough in front of her. He says he had to learn to fight and kill to survive. But Hei Su says she can tell He's very sad. And she understands. He doesn't even realize that this is love. Everyone is afraid to bring food to the fourth prince. Just then, Hei Su walks in, and everyone agrees that she's the most suitable person. Sure enough, the killer is scary in the eyes of everyone. But Hei Su treats him like a normal person. She orders him to eat his food quickly, saying she has to take the bowl back. The fourth prince asks her why she came to the bathhouse that day. Hei Su can't say that she time traveled, so she has to change the subject. The two of them talk happily until the evening. On the way back, seeing Hei Su carrying the heavy lunchbox, he reaches out to help. Although he doesn't say a word, it's clear that he likes her. Hei Su's sister, who has a weak body, now has a disease. She advises the eighth prince to marry a new wife. Hei Su accidentally overhears this, and feels she is going to be considered as meddling. She's sitting outside thinking about it. Just then, the 10th prince runs up, and says He's going to show her a secret weapon that can make people forget their sorrows. Then, he pulls out a drum and arrow, a bow, and even a golden fish. It's all kids' toys. Hei Su is annoyed and scolds him. "How old are you? You're still playing with this stuff? Go play over there. I have a headache." The 14th prince, Wang Jung, refuses to leave. Hei Su asks him, "If you had to marry 8 to 10 wives, would you want that?" He says, "Of course not. Marrying too many is bad for your kidneys. I only want to marry one person and live with them until the end of my life." Hei Su prays that she is just like him, beautiful and innocent, making Wang Jung feel embarrassed. He thinks that she might be into him. On this side, Che Ryong has made a big mistake. She followed Hu's instructions to put the hairpin in the fourth prince's room. As she's about to open the closet to put it in, Princess Yeonhua suddenly walks in and sees it. Che Ryong is scared and drops the hairpin. Without a doubt, Yeonhua thinks she was stealing it. Yeonhua has people tie her up and then whip her back until it bleeds. The princess asks her if she stole anything else, but she says that she did not steal anything. But the princess continues to beat her, saying that she's just making excuses. Just then, Hei Su runs up and stops them. She says she was the one who did it, but she can't explain how she found the hairpin at the bathhouse. Otherwise, her time travel will be a problem. So, Hei Su takes the blame for Che Ryong. She tells the princess to beat her instead. Yeonhua immediately has her men release Che Ryong. Then, they hang Hei Su up and start whipping her. The 10th prince and 8th prince see this, and are really uncomfortable. But the 8th prince can't intervene. Hei Su gets whipped a few times, when the 4th prince shows up just in time. The reason he saves her is only 5 words. "Don't hit my person." Everyone is stunned. They're all shocked and confused. Everyone is wondering, why did Hei Su become the prince's woman? Yeonhua is furious. And the 10th prince runs over to intervene, saying that he saw her pick up the hairpin by the 4th prince's door. The 8th prince is also angry and defends Hei Su. The situation turns around, and everyone helps Hei Su. The princess reluctantly smiles. After everyone leaves, she asks Wang So, "Do you like Hei Su?" He only says sorry and then leaves. The 8th prince warns, "You don't belong here. Hei Su is my person." Wang Wook has also fallen for Hei Su. One time, the 14th prince is demonstrating martial arts in the street, when He's spotted by an enemy of his mother. He orders his men to capture him and take him into the forest. While out shopping with Che Ryong, she sees the 14th prince being kidnapped. Without thinking, she dashes into the forest to save him. Seeing the 14th prince get caught, she tells Che Ryong to get help while she chases after them. Right then, the fourth prince is at the market. Seeing her abnormal behavior, he becomes suspicious. In the forest, the thug says that his hand was cut off by the 14th prince's mother, so He's going to take his hand as compensation. Su hears this and knows something isn't right. She looks around to see if there is anything she can do. While the thug is swinging his axe to chop off his hand, she grabs a stick and runs in, swinging it wildly. She's yelling at the kidnappers. "Get out of here, you evil people. Be careful, you'll beat you to death. Leave or else." But she is no match for them. Soon, the two of them are surrounded. Jesus says, "Run," but ends up being attacked by the group. Suddenly, the 8th prince arrives, the cavalry that Ryeo called. The 8th prince is also fierce and bravely fights with them. After a few rounds, they're not doing well. All three are surrounded again. But just then, the 4th prince arrives. Seeing him, the thugs only know how to bow in fear. He raises his sword to threaten them, saying, "Get out of here." The thug knows he can't win, so he throws down his axe and runs off. The danger is over, and everyone checks each other's wounds. The 14th prince thanks the 2 elder princes, and then turns to thank Su, and even says that no matter what, he will definitely protect her. Su hugs him, thanking him. This inadvertently stuns him. The 2 princes beside them stare at her. At this point, Su realizes something isn't right. This is ancient times. Men and women are not supposed to touch each other. It's not okay to hug a guy like that. So she lets go and says, "Sorry." Back at the palace, Wang So and Wang Jung get into an argument and start yelling at each other. Wang So, in his anger, punches him. Just then, Queen Yu walks by and sees it. She rushes in and shoves Wang So away, not saying a single word of thanks, only scolding him and kicking him out. They're the same in name, but the queen's treatment shows that the different treatment shows a very clear favoritism. On this side, the mom asks about the 14th prince anxiously, asking, "Are you hurt?" In the evening, the 8th prince is like a different person. No matter how Su calls him from behind, he doesn't care. She uses the "suffering from pain" trick, saying her leg hurts. The 8th prince can't take it anymore and turns around, saying he's afraid he won't see her again. He has fallen for Su. The romantic atmosphere is interrupted by the servants. The 8th prince turns and leaves, riding his horse out. He then sits alone by the river to calm his mind, and even starts crying. At this time, Su is lying in bed, but can't sleep. From the moment she heard those words, she's been restless. So she goes out for a walk to clear her head. She runs into Wang So, who is also there. They both sit down and talk. He says that he was helped by the emperor and has been allowed to stay in the palace, so he won't be leaving. Su congratulates him. They talk, and suddenly it starts snowing. The two of them sit next to each other, admiring the incredibly romantic scenery. Since her sister said that soap is very valuable here, she tells Su to make some and give it to the queen. Su chooses newly arrived herbs and starts making soap. First, she crushes the herbs, then rolls them into balls and presses them into molds. She even adds a few petals to make it look pretty. The soap making is simple, but the results are better than expected. The 8th prince walks by and sees Su working diligently and pauses to look at her. Beside her can also tell that the expression in the 8th prince's eyes is far from ordinary. In the evening, her sister tells Su to go to the study. She calls out to her sister, but no one answers. She automatically opens the door and sees the 8th prince there. Su tries to regain her composure and asks, "Where is my sister?" As it turns out, he was writing a letter to because her sister had a cold and went to rest early. Su is about to leave, but the 8th prince says that he needs ink and asks her to help him grind ink. Actually, this was arranged by to get the two of them together. The 8th prince is truly skilled in both literature and martial arts. Although Su doesn't understand what He's writing, she can tell that his calligraphy is very beautiful. He explains that it is the Return poem from Tao Yuanming of the Jin Dynasty. Su nods, but doesn't understand anything. The 8th prince writes another poem for her and tells her to read it carefully. Outside the study, she opens the letter. It's all formal written Chinese, and she doesn't know how to read it. Suddenly, Ryeo walks by. So Su calls her over, saying, "Can you explain this to me?" But Ryeo is just a maid. She doesn't know how to read and has only recently learned how to write her own name. But regardless, it's a request from the 8th prince, so she has to find a way to understand it. The next morning, she continues to read the letter. The 13th prince, curious, snatches it away and starts reading. Halfway through, her sister walks out and finishes reading it. It's the poem, Bamboo Branch, by Liu Yuxi from the Tang Dynasty. The two of them know the meaning of the poem is a love confession. They ask who gave it to her. She says that it was given to her by the 8th prince. The 13th prince is immediately stunned. After Su leaves, he asks his sister-in-law, this is a love poem, and is displeased with her. But Hei says that she knew it long ago. Last time, she was the one who arranged for Hei Su and the 8th prince to be in the same study. She knows that her condition is terminal, and knows the 8th prince's intentions. So after she dies, she plans to entrust Hei Su to the 8th prince's care. At night, Hei Su reads the letter over and over again, but can't understand it. She vaguely guesses the meaning of the poem, but then hits herself on the head, thinking, no way. The next day, Hei and Hei Su take the soap to the palace to visit the queen. The grand palace makes Hei Su excited to look around. The queen and the royal concubine are sitting and talking, but every word they say has hidden meanings to attack each other. Hei Su doesn't understand the rules and just stares blankly. The three of them came to pay their respects to the two queens. Seeing such a beautiful girl, royal concubine Huangbo praises Hei Su. Hei's family thanks her, but forgets that the queen is beside her, making her very unhappy. So, her sister reminds her to present the gifts. 1 box for the concubine, and 1 box for the queen. It is the first time they have ever seen something so beautiful and fragrant, and both the queen and the concubine like it very much. Queen Yu praises Hei, but doesn't forget to mock concubine Huangbo for having such a good daughter-in-law. Her only flaw is that she can't have children. Suddenly, Emperor Taiho Wang Jian arrives. Normally, she has only seen him on TV, but now she has the opportunity to see the real person. Hei Su stares like an idiot. First, the emperor asks about Hei's health, then turns to ask Hei Su, "So you're the girl who fought with the 10th prince?" The 8th prince says it was just a joke, but leaving a scar on the 10th prince's face is too much. Hei Su quickly kneels down, saying that her crime deserves death. Then, calming down, she remembers that wise rulers usually treat people with reason, so she calls him a wise ruler. The emperor asks her why she calls him a wise ruler. Is she just saying that to flatter him and escape punishment? Oh crap, she thinks. If I say the wrong thing, I'll be beheaded. Hei Su calmly remembers the history lessons she learned. He united the 3 kingdoms and created a country. He treats people fairly and even won the sea, but is also very humble. That's why he is a wise ruler. The emperor laughs, saying that she is very clever, and rewards her with a special Persian fur coat. Hei Su smiles and thanks her high school history teacher for saving her life. She then thanks the emperor, but because she's so nervous, she has a stomachache and wants to find the bathroom to relieve herself. But the palace is so big she can't find the bathroom anywhere. Out of nowhere, the 4th prince suddenly appears and puts his arm around her. He asks her where she's going. Hei Su replies that she and her sister and the 8th prince are taking fruit to visit the queen. Seeing the 4th prince's new look makes her surprised and impressed. She asks him if he's used to being here and if he sees his parents often. Just then, Queen Yu walks over. Hei Su quickly runs away. The queen is still upset and sees the 4th prince and scolds him. You think you've succeeded just because you're allowed to stay in the palace? You and Wang Wook are completely different. You only know how to kill. How are you going to survive? He only replies coldly, I won't affect you. The queen angrily hisses and leaves. When Wang Yun turns around, Hei Su has already left. Hei and the royal concubine are talking, when suddenly she coughs up blood. The royal concubine calls for a doctor, but Hei kneels and asks her not to. Today, she has come directly to beg the royal concubine to make Hei Su a concubine of the 8th prince. She knows that she won't live much longer, so she wants to entrust Hei Su to the 8th prince's care. When she and the 8th prince are touring the palace, she meets the royal astrologer, Ji Mong. She remembers that face. It's the homeless guy she met the other day. She runs over and asks him if he remembers her. They drank together, but the royal astrologer shakes his head and says he doesn't know her. She pulls him aside and asks him if he remembers anything from 1,000 years ago. But Ji Mong only says to be careful now, or it will be very dangerous, then winks and leaves. Hei Su vaguely understands something. It seems she understands something now. Under the falling snow, the two of them are walking. Seeing her cute walk, the 8th prince couldn't help but laugh. Then, Hei Su pulls out a package of soap from her bag, saying it is the soap that was left over from the other day. The 8th prince shyly takes it. Then, he asks Hei Su if she understands the poem he gave her the other day. She doesn't understand and reads it back blankly. But the 8th prince says that she has to write a poem in response to be polite. So in the evening, Hei Su sits at her desk to write a poem. But Hei Su is a modern person. How would she know how to write a poem from ancient times? She thinks for an entire night but can't come up with a good line. Just as she's about to give up, she has a mischievous idea. The next morning, she goes to the 8th prince's study and tucks the letter into the book. Just then, the princes walk into the room. She bows her head. The 10th prince curiously asks her what she's doing here. She only replies that she is delivering something to the 8th prince. This letter. Then, she quickly runs away like a mouse. The 13th prince chases after her. When the 10th prince asks her out, the 10th prince curiously opens the letter to see what's inside, but only sees a smiley face. But they don't understand what it means. Neither does the 8th prince. When he asks the 4th prince, he says that she is raising her hand to the sky. That's a happy emotion. It means that she really likes the poem he gave her. On this side, the 13th prince chased after her and pulled her into a corner. He asks her if she knows what she's doing. He asks her if she knew the 8th prince's intentions and what she had been told by her sister. It turns out that her sister knows everything, but he advises her not to do it. If she makes Hei sad, he will not forgive her. When he turns to leave, the 8th prince is behind him, having heard everything. The two of them face each other, not knowing what to say. They stand by the lake, fumbling, unable to speak. Hei Su says she knows his feelings, but she understands that if she gives in and can't break free, she wants to end things as soon as possible. She apologizes and turns to leave. The 8th prince also leaves, heartbroken, in the opposite direction. The two of them put away their memories and put away their hearts. On the other side, Princess Yeonhua presents her father with a pillow, saying that since Emperor Taeho needs to change his pillow, she made him one. The emperor praises her for her filial piety and beauty. He doesn't know whom to marry her off to. He wants to marry her far away from the palace, like her sister. The beautiful and thoughtful princess said, "Whatever you want," as she knows that he wants her to leave and to stop fighting with her siblings for power, and tells him that wherever your grace tells her to live, she shall. Princess Yeonhua leaves and runs into the 4th prince walking by. The two greet each other. She hints that the emperor wants to marry her off. Suddenly, the 3rd prince, Wang So, walks over and says, "The emperor allowing you to live in the palace is already a miracle. Now he even wants to give Yeonhua to him?" Yeonhua smiles inwardly. Actually, she still likes the 4th prince a lot. The 4th prince asks Yeonhua if she's confident enough to live with a gruesome face like his. Yeonhua replies that she doesn't need someone with handsome looks, only someone who can cherish her. The 3rd prince says that only someone who recognizes her beauty will know how to cherish her. The 4th prince directly replies that the person he is waiting for isn't someone of high status, but someone who cherishes him. After saying that, he leaves. Yeonhua is getting more and more interested in him. She wonders what it would be like to tame a wild beast. A few days later, it's snowing. Hei's health is getting worse. She's sitting outside burning her clothes. Just then, Hei Su walks by and sees her sister. She can't help but stop and watch. Suddenly, Hei coughs up blood. Hei Su runs over to help her. She knows her time is running out and asks Hei Su if she also likes the prince. Hei Su doesn't answer, only remains silent. Hei understands and says that the two of them are fools. She tells Hei Su to help her put on makeup. She wants to look beautiful in front of the prince. On this side, Hei Su is putting on powder to make blush, but she is very sad. Hei looks at the younger one and asks her to remember to take care of her health, watch her words, and she should take care of the 8th prince. Hei Su is putting on lipstick, but can't hold back her tears. The 8th prince helps Hei walk under the snow, talking to each other. Hei Su walks behind them, remembering their past memories. Hei had already loved him and wanted to take care of him. She hopes he will take care of Hei Su for her, as a token of her heart. Hei sits on the prince's back and passes away. Her last words are, "If only I could have loved you more." Hei Su is heartbroken and starts crying. The 8th prince tells her not to cry so loudly, or she'll wake her up. During Hei's funeral, everyone is sad. Hei Su asks the 13th prince if she will ever see her sister again. The 13th prince only says to come and find him. They have both lost a loved one and are now friends. Hei Su goes into the room and sees the 8th prince sitting there. He is heartbroken, regretting not being able to say, "I love you," before Hei passed away. He really loved Hei. He always felt comfortable when he was with her. Why did it take him so long to understand her feelings? He cries in despair. Hei Su sees this and comforts him, telling him to calm down and that her sister will definitely understand. Hei Su, even the next morning, is still not over her sadness. At the window, two puppets are performing. Hei Su knows that it's the 10th prince trying to cheer her up because he doesn't want to see her sad. Not long after Hei's death, Hei Su is in trouble again. While she's visiting Hei's grave with the 13th prince and 14th prince, Princess Yeonhua says that she will get married. Her family wants to marry her off to expand their power, so they've discussed it with the 8th prince and Yeonhua. This news shocks all the princes. They hear that Hei Su is being sold to a 60-year-old man, so everyone comes up with a plan to help Hei Su escape. Just as Hei Su is packing her things and planning to run away, she's helped by Che Ryong. They disguise her, and she follows the 8th prince. Yeonhua sees this and sends her troops to chase after them. As their horses are surrounded by soldiers, it turns out that the hooded figure is the 10th prince. Princess Yeonhwa is furious and orders her men to chase in the other direction. On this side, Hae Soo is being carried away on horseback by the fourth prince. Their horses speed through the foggy forest, but they are blocked by government troops led by Jimong. At this time, he tells everyone that the person she will be marrying is His Highness Wang Mu. This news shocks everyone. The fourth prince doesn't allow her to get off the horse, but Yeonhwa says that if they disobey the imperial order, all the princes will be implicated. So Hae Soo will have to leave. She looks at everyone one last time and obediently gets into the sedan. Queen Yu finds out that His Highness is taking a concubine and is furious. She blames the emperor for only thinking about the country and not thinking about the family. But the emperor says He's doing this for the country because Hae Soo's family is guarding the border. Inside the sedan, Hae Soo is worried and tells herself that she has to survive. When she gets to the palace, she is taken to the hall by the royal astrologer and then to the examination room. She needs to go through a general health check. She cannot have any scars on her body. This is Hae Soo's first time, so she definitely doesn't want anyone to examine her body. But because she is small and weak, they hold her down. On this side, Queen Yu and royal concubine Huangbo are talking when the 10th prince suddenly comes in and says, "Please stop His Majesty from taking a concubine," because the new wife is Hae Soo. Both the queen and the royal concubine are shocked, but because this is a wedding ceremony, they can't do anything. The queen asks Wang Wook, "Do you really care about this wedding?" Wang Wook replies, "Hae Soo is like my younger sister. How can I not be worried about such a sudden thing?" This matter is very important, because Hae Soo is very special to everyone. The 13th prince feels the same way. The 4th prince, Wang So, asks him if he also likes Hae Soo. Wang Wook responds that, no, because Hae is very special, and then continues with how. Hae Soo is as a friend, drinking by my side, who, and with the words of modern times, she encouraged him. Then continues as, though she said all those nonsense at times, her words met my thoughts. Wang So goes to his room and sits. On this side, the wedding is about to begin, and the royal servant tells her that she has to take a bath. Hae Soo says she needs some quiet time, but as soon as the servant leaves, she immediately regrets it and gets up and runs away. On the way, she has to avoid countless palace maids, but ends up running into the royal servant. Soon, it's time for the wedding. The emperor is hesitant, but because it's a national wedding, it proceeds. Hae Soo is sitting at her makeup table, all made up, in the wedding room. The emperor, dressed, is on his way into the room, but sees the 8th prince kneeling outside the room. He's begging the emperor to stop it, because the royal family is already chaotic. Why add another family into the mix? But the emperor says that in order to prevent foreign invasion, they need the power of that family. At this time, the 4th prince also appears and stops him, saying that he has evidence that Hae's family is colluding with Liao. The emperor can punish them, but His Majesty doesn't agree and insists on proceeding with the wedding. He said their identities don't deserve his notice. The arguing outside disturbs Hae Soo. She quickly runs out to see what's going on and catches him just as he is about to leave. As His Majesty walks past her in the hallway, without a word, he is walking away when something unexpected happens. Hae Soo breaks a vase and uses a piece to cut her hand. She says that if she has a scar, she can't be the emperor's woman. She asks him to give that position to someone else and let her leave. Seeing this, the emperor laughs and praises her for her courage. He agrees to cancel the wedding. Hae Soo cleverly escapes disaster, but she faints from blood loss. The 8th prince carries her out, looking for a doctor. All the princes are worried about her. The 4th prince, with a cold face, also stands outside, watching, hoping she is okay. Hae Soo has a dream where the princes are fighting each other for the throne, covered in blood. She wonders who will be the next king. When Hae Soo wakes up, she sees the royal servant sitting there, taking care of her. The servant asks her why she gave up such wealth and glory, but Hae Soo says that she must decide her own life. Later, the 8th prince comes to visit her. He says many caring things that make her tear up, and he hugs her and comforts her. Because Hae Soo canceled the national wedding, even though the circumstances were pitiful, the emperor punished her by making her a palace maid. The astrologer defends her, asking that she work at the beauty salon because she has a talent for herbs and cosmetics. The astrologer goes to tell her. Hae Soo feels that being a palace maid is okay because she doesn't have anywhere else to go. Plus, palace maids get paid. She says she learns quickly and will be fine. The 8th prince then gives her a letter with a drawing of her from the other day. The princes also ran up to ask about her injuries. Looking at the princes, she wonders who will become king. The girl who refused to marry the king has been demoted to a palace maid. Hae Soo will now work as a palace maid in Oh Sang-gung's office. The headmistress, Oh, asks her if she knows anything about makeup, herbs, and cosmetics. Hae Soo, of course, knows all of this. This place is definitely suitable for her, but she doesn't know how to read the language, and she tells headmistress. This makes headmistress also extremely surprised, and she wonders how So can work in this area. The fourth prince comes to visit So, making her very happy. He takes her hand with the wound and says that if she does that again, he won't forgive her. The two then go for a walk by the lake. The beautiful scenery makes her enjoy looking around. She says she will never be lonely, because with the fourth prince here, how could she be bored? On this side, So and Miss Oh go to visit the royal concubine. Outside, So hears a scream and goes to look. It turns out to be the crown prince, having an allergic reaction, covered in red spots. Just as He's about to pour a bucket of cold water on himself, So stops him. He grabs her by the neck and says, "Do you know what you're doing?" So says that every time he eats nuts or cold things, he gets itchy, and he can't wear fur. She finds mint leaves, crushes them, puts them in hot water with salt, and applies them to the allergic areas for the crown prince. Because her hands were on him, which the customs do not allow at the current time, Miss Oh then runs in because the culture requires some space, and contact with the prince will come with great and terrible consequences. So is not allowed. Because she doesn't know the rules of the feudal era, she doesn't know that it's taboo for a palace maid to intentionally approach the crown prince. So goes back to the yard and is punished by Miss Oh, being forced to kneel with a book of herbs on her head. It is also deliberate that she has to read the entire book. She is then made to go water the plants. When she's watering, she accidentally splashes the fourth prince, who is sleeping nearby, and breaks the jar. The fourth prince sits down and talks to So. He tells her to be careful, and not to say too much about the crown prince's illness, if she doesn't want to be implicated. He even teases her and taps her on the head, saying that with effort and hard work, there will definitely be a chance. This makes her understand. From then on, she works hard studying, working, brewing tea, carrying tea, reading books, and learning to write. But life in the palace isn't too boring, because the princes cheer her on and make her laugh. The 8th prince pulls her aside, giving her even more motivation. The 10th prince helps her test medicine. While So is writing, the 8th prince comes to teach her how to write. This distance is really too close. He even holds her hand to teach her. This action makes So's heart flutter. He even puts a bracelet on her, telling her to promise him not to take it off. He will definitely save her. Then, he places a kiss on her forehead, making So's heart melt. Then, in the evening, So can't help but admire the letter he wrote her, promising to meet again tomorrow to watch the moon. Outside, she's happy, and says she will live well. It's the 10th prince's birthday. The party is organized by Princess Yeonhwa. All the princes come to celebrate, drinking and having fun. The princes are all looking around, wondering where So is. During the party, the princess says that she can't organize any more parties later on, because the emperor is looking for a family for her far away. The 3rd prince asks if she's afraid of losing value. Yeonhwa replies that it's probably because she's too weak, and no one wants her. While everyone is drunk, the 3rd prince pulls the princess outside to talk. He tells her to marry him, so she can become the queen of Goryeo. He knows that she wants to help Wang Wook to the throne. That's why he offered. Yeonhwa says that for her to stop this marriage, he needs to give up his plans of becoming the emperor of the country, which he refuses because his plans of becoming a royalty are just as important to him as it is for her friend. That said, the 3rd prince even goes to her and tries to sexually assault her as he forces a kiss, only for the 4th prince to stop him from the deed. On this side, So has finished her work and is allowed to leave. She quickly puts on simple makeup, wears gorgeous clothes, and leaves. It turns out that the crown prince has allowed her to come and organize a party for the 10th prince. So skillfully decorates and arranges the flowers and cakes beautifully. She thanks him for being her friend in Sung-ae. After her sister died, he comforted her a lot. Then, So sings and dances happily and comically. Her foolish but beautiful appearance makes the princes stare like fools, including the 4th prince. He's standing with Princess Yeonhwa, watching the foolish So, and he can't help but laugh. So even sings a song for everyone to listen to. So's clear voice moves everyone to listen. After leaving, Yeonhwa warns her not to be friends with Wang Yun. She should be more careful. Luckily, the crown prince speaks up to help. During the 10th prince's birthday party, everyone is there. The 4th prince is not there. He's outside by the lake because So's beautiful appearance has entranced him. The 3rd prince intentionally tells the 10th prince to ask the 4th prince for a gift, and then whispers something mysterious into his ear. So says that the 4th prince will definitely give him a gift because he is a man of his word. The 10th prince says, then he will have him show us his face. The atmosphere becomes tense. The crown prince scolds him for asking for such a gift, but he says it wasn't him. So said it. 4th prince agrees to remove his mask, revealing a long scar on the right side. This shocks everyone. Some people don't dare to look. The third prince laughs, saying, "Why would such a low-born man want to be the crown?" The crown prince then warns the 10th prince of a horrible thing. The third prince also stands up and attacks him, saying that a person of low status shouldn't even be dreaming of fighting for the throne, which makes the crown prince ask if it is that he needs to teach the way that princes of his kind, or any person of his kind, speak to royalties and important individuals. On this side, Su chases after the fourth prince to explain, but he doesn't listen and grabs her hand and pins her to the wall. He says her eyes make him feel disgusted. Su tries to explain but is rejected. He even tells her to never talk to him again. Su sadly watches the fourth prince. He also can't sleep in the palace and lies outside, looking at the moon. Luckily, the 13th prince talks to her. Su tries everything she can to make up with him, even learning about the type of tea he likes and offering it to him, but he doesn't want to drink it, saying that the people are suffering from drought. So how can he sit here and drink tea? The 13th prince tells her that it's definitely what the fourth prince likes, because he's done his research. Su is confused. Just then, a group of palace maids walks by, and she tries to leave so as not to cause trouble, but he even pulls her back, acting affectionately. Just then, Miss O walks by, which only makes things worse for her. She is punished to kneel and carry water buckets for 2 hours straight. The head maid reminds her that she can't be too close to the princes in the palace. The 10th prince is bored because he has nothing to do when General Sun Duke's daughter arrives. Even though She's bullying him, She's actually liked him for a long time. At his birthday party, she gave him a bearskin rug, but he didn't like it. This time, She's very happy to be with him. Because the king is about to perform a rain ritual, the beauty salon doesn't allow outsiders in. The 8th prince gets an idea. On this side, Su comes back from work and receives a letter, inviting her to a secret cave. In the cave, the 8th prince has decorated it beautifully, with candles lit. The atmosphere is very romantic, making Su praise it non-stop. The two then sit down and talk. The 8th prince says he will definitely ask for her to leave the palace. Su happily leans on his shoulder and feels warm. The next day, Su secretly brings medicine to the crown prince, because he is about to lead the troops to suppress a rebellion. She tells him not to take cold baths or scratch the itch. Just then, the fourth prince walks in, making both of them a little awkward. When Su leaves, she is dragged away by a group of people. They take her to Queen Yu and the third prince. The queen asks her why she was going to the crown prince, and if it's because he has some kind of illness. Su says she doesn't know anything, but the queen, of course, doesn't believe her. She directly yanks her hair back. The fourth prince sees this. Luckily, Miss O arrives in time and speaks up for her, saying that she told Su to put medicine on His Highness. The queen says, "Oh really, you must be kidding." But the royal servant says, "Does the queen want her to go down there with her, the mistress?" To which the queen then shut her mouth and decided to leave, enraged. Miss O also says that the queens do not need to come and school her people about her intentions. On this side, Miss O slaps Su hard. Su doesn't understand what's happening and says, "What's wrong with me and helping people? Why is she scolding and punishing her, making her so miserable?" "Because you're too much like me. Looking at you, I remember myself in the past. I feel uneasy." Before she finishes speaking, she faints. When she wakes up, Su has brought freshly cooked porridge into the room. Su says that she fainted because she had a stomachache and will help keep her secret. She even plans to feed the head servant. She knows that the head servant is scared of dying, so she's acting like this, but she promises to live well. Su's sincerity directly touches her, so their relationship becomes much better. Emperor Taeho is preparing to perform a rain ritual, because Goryeo is suffering from a severe drought, and the people are suffering everywhere. But because he is old and weak, he has to choose one of the princes to perform the rain ritual. The princes are talking as they put their names in the jar. It is said that if it doesn't rain, they will be executed by the people. Everyone is terrified, but the fourth prince says that the rain ritual can be done at any time, so he arrogantly puts his name in the jar. Unexpectedly, his name is chosen. Fourth prince, Wang So, this is heaven's will. Go and perform the rain ritual. The rain ritual takes place. The entire royal family is present. Queen Yu looks at her son and smirks. She knows that the people won't accept the fourth prince. Sure enough, the people who saw Wang So just booed and cursed him, calling him a bad omen. They even threw dirt and rocks at him. On the way to the palace, everyone in the royal court couldn't help but be disappointed. Even Su didn't dare to look at him. Queen Yu and the third prince plot that this rain ritual will also be used to change the position of the crown prince. Choosing the heir depends on human power. Therefore, the crown, the next heir to Goryeo, for the throne is in your hands. Su goes to find the fourth prince. She sees him lying on a boat by the lake. She goes to him but accidentally stumbles. Luckily, the prince catches her. Then consoles him and says, "Life belongs only to one, and that is you, so you have the control and don't have to listen to anyone, that you are living your life terribly. The words that one must only need to listen to them, so long as it does not conflict with their plans and dreams." She says this time will pass quickly. That night, Su researches herbs, mixing this and that to make a concealer for the fourth prince. It turns out that the rain ritual was arranged by the astrologer, Mong, for the fourth prince to be chosen, so that he could rightfully ascend the throne. As the prince is about to leave, Su arrives in time. She wants to put makeup on him to cover up the scar. Touching his scar, she says that whether he has a scar or not, she knows he will be a good person. No one has ever not been afraid of his scar. Su is the only one who helps him, which touches him. The way that she took care of him as if he were a person, regardless of his injuries, to not be seen as a beast or a monster, made a massive impact on their relationship in a lot of ways. Since the rain ritual is about to take place, the third prince is made the ritual master, to be the face and name in the royal court for a certain amount of power, just like the queen's plan. But at this time, the fourth prince steps out with a completely new look. The scar has completely disappeared. The people outside the city, seeing this arrogant appearance, kneel down and beg him to make it rain. The entire royal family in the palace is shocked. The queen is furious, thinking that it should have been the third prince. Su looks at him, and the image of him as the emperor of Goryeo flashes in her mind. Before the ritual is finished, it starts to pour rain. The people rejoice and cheer. Will the next emperor be Wang So? Thanks to the successful rain ritual, the fourth prince has gained the hearts of the royal family and the people. Su looks at him in the sedan, and can't help but be stunned. Is it really she who helped him to the throne? Will she cause the other princes to be killed? The eighth prince says it will be okay, because the current crown prince will still take the throne. Su hears this and runs to find someone to ask. That is the astrologer, Mong. She asks if the next person to take the throne will be a ruthless king. He says that it will be the crown prince, but the person after that will be Wang Jun. Isn't that what she calls Wang So? The astrologer even says strange things. Su guesses that he is also a time traveler like her, but doesn't remember anything. He tells her not to try to interfere, because fate cannot be changed. Just accept it and live peacefully. Su walks back, thinking about it, when suddenly someone pulls her into their arms. She looks up and sees that it's the fourth prince. This scares her, and she screams. The fourth prince laughs, catches the rainwater with his hand, and drinks it deliciously. Su looks at him, not believing that he will be the person to turn on his brothers. She decides to help change his life. She only says that no matter how angry he is, he can't hit people, and he can't hurt people. The next day, the emperor arrives with the general, and is choosing a husband for the general's daughter. The general immediately sets his eyes on the 10th prince, because he knows that his daughter likes him. The emperor comes to visit the princes, who are drinking tea. Because the fourth prince was successful in the rain ritual, he was rewarded. He asks the emperor to give him Su. The emperor agrees to make her a head servant, and tells her to help him. Then, the emperor announces the wedding between General Sun Duke's daughter and the 10th prince, Wang Yun. Wang Yun doesn't want to, kneels down, and begs to withdraw the imperial order, but is rejected. Wang Yun looks at Su. As he stands up, he drops the pouch he was planning to give her. The 8th prince goes to meet Su. She gives him a gift in return for the bracelet he gave her the other day, a pillow that she sewed herself for him because the prince can't sleep. He also gives her a book with a drawing of the two of them walking in the snow. Even though the plan to leave the palace has been cancelled, she tells him to wait for her. The two hug tightly. In the evening, Seng-gung tells Su to pay attention to the special rules, reminding her to pay attention to the fourth prince. Su is doing the fourth prince's makeup, and even gives him the recipe for concealer. Seeing Su, who is usually clever but now serious and silent, makes him a little confused. Cut to a girl practicing swordsmanship in the forest. She suddenly hears the sound of a flute and goes to look. It turns out that the 10th prince, Wang Yun, is sitting and playing the flute for the children. Meeting again, the two argue with each other. As He's about to reveal his identity, the girl disappears, only leaving behind the strap from her waist. This girl is so mysterious. Because the 10th prince refuses to get married, he has locked himself in his room and refuses to come out. Soon Duke runs to find Su to ask for help, saying that even if he wants to take concubines, she will accept it. When Su enters the room, he is sitting and drinking alcohol, completely drunk. Su says she knows he likes her, but she doesn't like him, so she can only refuse to be his concubine. Su also comforts him, saying that thanks to him, she always feels comfortable. During the wedding, the brothers give the two gifts, hoping they will be happy. Su is standing, looking at everyone smiling and talking happily, when suddenly the image of the 4th prince killing the 10th prince and his wife flashes in her mind. Su is scared and runs away immediately. The 8th prince sees her. She tells him to be careful. That 4th prince must not get in the way. She only wants to leave the palace. She doesn't care where she goes. This makes the 8th prince sad, and he hugs her to comfort her. The 10th prince, of course, still doesn't want to accept it. So he still rejects Soon Duke and doesn't let her sleep with him. But soon, Duke loves him so much that she accepts it, and even sleeps on the floor. On this side, His Highness is assigning new tasks to the 3rd prince and 4th prince. The 3rd prince has to leave the capital and go to the provinces to investigate the situation. The troops are handed over to the 4th prince. This clearly shows who the emperor is favoring. During dinner, the queen and everyone are warm and caring. The queen even kindly puts a piece of meat in his bowl, making the 4th prince surprised. There must be something hidden behind that. While drinking tea, the queen reveals herself, saying she wants him to kill the crown prince. The 4th prince agrees, but only if he can be the next king. This makes the queen and 3rd prince react strongly. But the 4th prince says he was just joking. The queen tells him not to be too arrogant. The rain ritual was just her using him as a pawn for the crown prince. Hes being used by his father and doesn't even know it. He says he voluntarily agreed and hopes that she won't call him to eat with her again. Then he gets up and leaves. The 12th prince, who is sitting there, can't help but feel unfair. If mother wanted the brothers to kill each other, why did she give birth to us? Su, sitting in her room, can't help but tremble in fear. She goes outside to breathe. Just then, the 4th prince also came. The 4th prince hugs her tightly, saying he wants to rest for a bit, but she rejects and avoids him. She is now very afraid of that face, because she knows he will kill his brothers. But the more she rejects him, the more he doesn't let go, because to him, she is now his woman. Then, he puts a kiss on her lips. The 4th prince rides his horse, taking her away from the palace. The 12th prince sees this and goes to tell the 8th prince. The two quickly get on their horses and chase after them. On this side, the 4th prince takes her to the beach to watch the sunrise. Looking at the vast sea, he tells her that he has never brought bad luck to anyone and has never hurt anyone. So why has he been kicked out of the palace so many times? Su only replies that she hopes he will always be able to live happily and not have to hurt anyone. She also says that she already has someone she likes. The 4th prince says that if the person she likes is someone else, he will not hesitate to kill them. The person she likes is only him, because she is his soulmate. Then he pulls a hairpin out of his pocket and gives it to Su, warning her not to even think about running away from him. On this side, the two are riding their horses back when they run into the 12th prince and 8th prince riding towards them. The 12th prince is about to take her, but the 4th prince rejects him. The 8th prince and 4th prince argue back and forth, directly fighting over Su. Su steps in and advises them to let her go back with the 4th prince. The 8th prince reluctantly agrees, but says this will be the last time he does that. When they get back to the palace, they run into Miss Oh. Even though the 4th prince says he took her out on his own, she still kicks him out. The head maid advises Su not to be too kind to the 4th prince, and especially not to act carelessly, because that's the only way she can survive. The 8th prince goes to the 3rd prince, who is practicing archery. He also tries to shoot an arrow, but misses. The 3rd prince advises him to think of someone and aim for them, and also advises him to gradually change his target of opposition. It doesn't take a genius to know who the 8th prince will think of. Hes really angry now. In the secret cave, he and Su are sitting and talking. He says he won't let things be like this anymore, so he will ask the emperor to allow them to get married on the Double Ninth Festival as soon as possible. The two will leave here and live a happy life together. This proposal from Wang Wook makes Su very happy. She believes this person will bring her happiness. But before she can answer him, they are caught on the spot by the head maid and taken away. Back at the palace, she says that Su should leave the palace and go back to her hometown with her. It turns out that she knew about the love affair between her and Wang Wook, so she wants to free her from her status and get her away from the princes. But Su refuses. The head maid is upset, saying that she should think about the 4th prince. Can she survive being caught between the two of them? Obviously not. She doesn't believe the prince's words, because in the past, she was also betrayed by the person she loved. That person is the current emperor. Now, the head maid can only quietly care for him from afar, even bathing the palace maids who are selected for the emperor to sleep with. She takes Su's hand, hoping she will step back and see things more clearly. But Su replies that she definitely trusts the 8th prince, because he is not like wanting and hungry for the throne. The next morning, Su does the 4th prince's makeup. She says she sees him as a friend, and only wants to encourage him during the most difficult times, hoping he won't misunderstand her actions as love. The 4th prince is originally a simple person. To him, friendship and love with her are the same thing. Even if Su pushes him away, he will get closer because she is his. Then, he puts his arm around her waist, about to kiss her again. But Su quickly covers his mouth. During a family conversation, the 8th prince announces that he will ask the emperor to marry Su and take her to live somewhere else, because he is too tired of life in the palace and only wants to live a comfortable life. Princess Yeonhwa is upset, asking if he will abandon his family, abandon her and his mother. But royal consort Hwangbo agrees to this matter, but doesn't forget to warn him to prepare himself, because it will be very difficult. Because the royal consort had already grown tired of the greed of her father's family. She just wanted him to be able to live a good life and not be like them. But Yeonhwa doesn't want that, because the royal consort was once framed and kicked out of the palace. If her family doesn't take the throne, they will soon be devoured by other families. From now on, I will change my goal. I won't be the emperor's brother or the emperor's wife. I will surpass the emperor. Saying that, she immediately gets up and leaves. Yeonhwa goes to the queen. Perhaps the two will come up with some kind of scheme. The queen has already planned to create discord between His Majesty, the crown prince, and the 4th prince. They plan to steal the ledgers from the crown prince's family, and then blame the 4th prince for doing it. As long as she pretends to support the 4th prince, she will succeed. During the court session, the officials hope that the emperor will reconsider the heir. He can't hand the country over to someone without virtue. The emperor asks if they have any suggestions for someone suitable. This is obviously a trap. The officials compete to say that the 4th prince, Wang So, is the most suitable person. But the emperor knew about Queen Yu's plan all along, so he called Wang So to him and said that he wanted him to leave the palace to avoid fighting for the throne. Wang So bitterly thinks about the queen's words. It turns out that has always been just a shield for the crown prince. The 4th prince angrily bursts into his mother's room, questioning her. Is he used by all of you enough now? He says he doesn't care what they do, but he will stop it. The queen doesn't hide it, saying that she will have someone poison the crown prince on the double 9th festival. If he stands up to stop her, he will die either way. But if he cooperates, she will support him to the throne. In the evening, 2 palace maids meet, giving each other a vial of medicine. After leaving, the palace maid goes to report to a mysterious person in a mask. That person says that the queen must not find out about this. During the double 9th festival party, the royal family is laughing and talking happily. There is a custom of throwing dice to choose who drinks alcohol and writes poetry. When it's the crown prince's turn, he hesitates and doesn't want to drink, so the queen has someone change the tea. This is actually a plan to poison the crown prince. The 4th prince, not wanting his brothers to kill each other, stands up and offers to bless the crown prince with 3 cups of tea. He directly drinks all the poison in the teapot, dying in place of the crown prince. The queen and Princess Yeonhwa are furious outside, speechless. But at this time, the poison has gradually taken effect, so he asks to be excused. Witnessing the person she loves drink the poisoned tea, the princess also freely accepts it. She stands up and pours the poisonous tea from the teapot, blessing the emperor with 3 cups. Seeing this, the queen is stunned, but is only pretending. She spills the alcohol and faints, not forgetting to knock over the pot of poisoned tea. On this side, the poison has also taken effect on the 4th prince, making him cough up blood non-stop. Then he loses consciousness and falls to the floor. Su turns around, sees it, and is horrified. She runs over and calls for help non-stop. Luckily, the crown prince arrives in time and has people take him to the doctor. Su is arrested, suspected of poisoning. The soldiers search Su's room and find a bottle of poison and the bracelet that the crown prince gave her. At the doctor's office, luckily, the 4th prince has a strong tolerance for poison, so he manages to stay alive. There are still many secrets to this matter, so everyone can't help but be suspicious. Su is sitting in the cell, curled up, still scared from what just happened. The 8th prince comes to visit her. The first thing she asks him is if the 4th prince is okay. This makes him unhappy. He comforts her, saying that the 4th prince is okay, and that she should think about herself first, because she is suspected of poisoning the crown prince's tea. He tells her to try to endure it, even if she is tortured. He will soon find a way to get her out of here. During the court session, General Ta blames the crown prince for colluding with Su to harm the 4th prince. But the 8th prince stands up and analyzes it. This is clearly a poison to harm the crown prince, and it was accidentally drunk by the 4th prince. Princess Yeonhwa was also poisoned, which further confirms it. But Su will still be sentenced to hanging. Although the crown prince asked the emperor to release her, to depose him and replace him with Su, the king does not agree to make a change. He knows in his heart what the emperor will be doing. After waking up, the 4th prince gets up to visit Su, but is stopped by the 13th prince and 8th prince. He reveals that everything was done by Queen Yu, his mother. She gave him the poison, doing this to save Su. But because Yeonhwa also drank the alcohol, It made the situation more complicated. He hopes the 8th prince will find evidence to clear her name. When he gets to the prison and sees Su's body covered in blood from torture, the 4th prince can't help but feel pain. She has suffered for him. When she asks him why he drank the poison, he can't say anything, only telling her that he will get her out soon. Su tells him to rest well and not to visit her. The 4th prince leaves with a furious look. He will definitely prepare to do something to avenge the person he loves. The 8th prince follows a palace maid, witnessing a secret conversation with a mysterious person. As she leaves, he grabs her, threatening the mysterious person to show their face, because he has a hostage in his hands. When he removes the hat, He's shocked. The person is none other than his younger sister, Princess Yeonhwa. The princess says she is doing this to wake him up, because she saw his eyes at the rain ritual. His eyes crave to be king. Yet the 8th prince threw away everything for a woman. She knows what he really wants, to be a king for the name. So she made a proposition, even threatening that she had a good reason to start now. And if it did not work, then she wants him to abandon their relationship, both her and their mother's. The prince angrily throws the hairpin, killing the palace maid just now. He can't abandon his family. Therefore, from now on, their family love is over. Only the relationship of the lender and the debtor will remain. She and he owe each other a big debt. Yeonhwa vows to do everything to help him to the throne, to repay him for her entire life. Finally, she has achieved what she wanted. The 8th prince goes to the prison to visit Su, but seeing the hairpin stained with blood in his hand, she can't do anything else. From now on, he will definitely throw Su away. The 4th prince also goes to the main hall, begging the emperor to pardon Su. But the emperor says that he can't trade the prosperity of the country for one life. If he dares to ask again, he will be beheaded. Oh Sang-gung sadly looks at Su in prison. It turns out that the 8th prince asked her to come forward to visit. The 8th prince also knows about her relationship with the emperor, so he hopes she will try to persuade the emperor again. But the head maid refuses, because she is just a small palace maid and can't make such a request. But she will still go see the emperor because she loves Su like her own child. But the prince will have to regret it for this day, for being so scared and not daring to step up. Oh Sang-gung is alone with the emperor, and says that she was the one who wanted to poison the crown prince, because she was jealous when she saw them growing up healthy, while her child didn't. Then she pulls out a blood-stained piece of cloth from her, saying that she was harmed in the past, causing her to miscarry. Therefore, she can't stand by and watch Su be killed. Anyway, she's not going to live much longer because she has cancer. For the past 2 years, she hasn't been able to eat well, and has been constantly having stomach aches. Therefore, before she leaves, she hopes the emperor can save Su and the crown prince from the queen's scheme. The next morning, Su is led to the execution ground. The 4th prince goes to fight the soldiers to save Su. Luckily, there is an order to cancel the punishment. On this side, Miss O has put on a white outfit to prepare to go to the execution ground. Su arrives and is shocked. Who would have thought that the person taking the blame would be Miss O? She directly grabs the headmaid's hand, wanting to run away together, but the secret passage has been blocked. Su, with her hands covered in blood, still tries to find a way out. The headmaid can only hug her, saying, "Don't feel sorry for me. I can't live much longer anyway." Su goes to the gate of the main hall and kneels, begging the emperor to reconsider. Wang Wook wants to come save her, but is stopped by the royal concubine because it is too dangerous. At this time, the queen arrives, intentionally mocking Su, making the 8th prince furious. Royal concubine Huangbo kneels down, begging the queen that there are no further harm be made towards any of her sons. Royal consort can do anything she wants, but the 8th prince begs, as what he has just heard is hurting her. Then he can tell that he has changed, so that the relationship and respect no longer seem to exist. Su kneels, not eating or drinking, begging for 2 days and 2 nights. Regardless of the rain, the princes are moved by Su's sincerity. They even go outside and stand in the rain with her. The 8th prince also goes, but because of his family's affairs, he can't be with her, so he can only turn around and leave. Seeing this, Su is stunned, so even the person she loves is leaving her. Luckily, there is still the 4th prince by her side, using his robe to shield Su from the rain. Su is so touched. The 4th prince prepares to leave the palace by order of the emperor. On this side, Su has woken up after fainting. The astrologer comes to visit her, and tells her to go to a faraway place so that she won't see the princes anymore. Su goes to meet the 4th prince, returning the hairpin to him as if to say goodbye. The next day, the 14th prince runs in, saying that Su has left. He has looked everywhere but can't find her. The 8th prince bursts into the room, but there's no one there. Princess Yeonhwa goes to meet the queen and warns her never to touch her family. or something bad will happen. Looking at her sharp eyes, the queen couldn't help but feel scared. She definitely has great ambition, but this makes the third prince very interested in her. The next evening, the third prince brings a ring to propose to Yeonhwa. The eighth prince sees this because the emperor has issued a decree that from now on, all the princes can ascend to the throne. Therefore, the eighth prince will let Yeonhwa be a hostage, waiting for the ripe opportunity to ascend to the throne. Hae-soo is pushed down to the lowest class, being bullied by the palace maids every day. Her heart and body are exhausted. The eighth prince watches from afar, feeling pain. He likes Hae-soo more than anyone, but he can't disobey the imperial order. Only at night does he quietly visit her. The two face each other, silently, speechless. Hae-soo only asks, "Do you still remember me?" The prince says, "Every second, I remember you. But times have changed. I can't be by your side." Hae-soo is hanging clothes to dry when she sees the figure of the fourth prince. She rubs her eyes and looks, but doesn't see him anymore. She thinks she's hallucinating, so she quickly hides that longing and leaves. Just then, Wang So hugs her from behind. Hae-soo tells him to leave quickly, but the fourth prince refuses. He is determined to save Hae-soo from here. But Hae-soo's heart is tired. She doesn't want him to care about her anymore. She doesn't want to be hurt for anyone anymore. The next day, the emperor summons Hae-soo. Looking at his appearance, Hae-soo knows that the emperor won't live much longer. The emperor says that he has investigated Hae-soo's background. After waking up, you became a different person. You're the same type as royal astrologer Ji-mong, aren't you? You know things about the future that we don't know. The emperor knows that the fourth prince has the destiny to be king, so he doesn't know what will happen in the palace in the future, but advises Hae-soo not to interfere with the future. Only then can she live peacefully. As she leaves the palace, Hae-soo can't help but think about those words. During the harmony ritual, the fourth prince takes out the hairpin, proposes that she is the one on this earth who understands him. Therefore, Hae-soo would be marrying to him. Let's get married. After getting married, we will leave here together, unrestrained, without being restricted by anyone. This scene is seen by the eighth prince, who quickly leaves. The two become furious, directly facing each other, threatening each other, and fighting over Hae-soo. On the other side, during the ceremony, the princess of later Baekje, Woo-hee, is dancing with a sword, preparing to assassinate the emperor. The 13th prince sees that her swordsmanship isn't right, that something is definitely going to happen. As she's about to strike, he runs out to stop her, and is directly stabbed by the blade. This girl is Woo-hee, the last princess of later Baekje. To avenge the country that was taken over by Goryeo, she infiltrates the dance troupe, hoping to assassinate Emperor Taizhou Wangmu. But as she's about to strike, the 13th prince, Wang Yun, runs out, taking the blade, shocking her. So, the third prince's plan has been ruined. Just then, the emperor, because of his old age and weakness, falls to the ground, unconscious. On the sickbed, the emperor tells the general and the royal astrologer to help the crown prince and the fourth prince. From now on, it's your war. The next day, the third prince and eighth prince go to the main hall to discuss the matter of rewriting the will. But the emperor quickly has his troops stop them. Even the queen and the royal concubine aren't allowed to enter, because the emperor wants the crown prince to quickly come meet him in the hall before he dies. The emperor wants to call the crown prince to see him before he dies, and give the will for to take the throne. He also tells them not to say that he is about to pass away. Hae-soo hurriedly leaves and runs into the eighth prince. He asks her if the emperor has passed away. Hae-soo remembers the emperor's words. If anyone asks, that person wants to usurp the throne. So does Wang Wook want to be king? The eighth prince says he's doing this for Hae-soo. Only the strongest person can protect the people they love. Hae-soo is determined to go find the crown prince, forcing the eighth prince to let her go. On the other side, the third prince is anxiously wanting to know what the emperor's situation is, when he hears the 14th prince say that Hae-soo's tea helped the emperor recover. Hearing this, he immediately sends people to find Hae-soo. She definitely knows what the situation is. As Hae-soo is about to leave, she runs into the 9th prince, who is looking for her. Luckily, the 4th prince pulls her aside. She tells the 4th prince the situation. The emperor has passed away. The 3rd prince will definitely attack the palace to take the throne soon, so they have to quickly bring the crown prince back. But all the entrances have been blocked. Hae says she knows a person, Princess Woo-hee. She definitely knows a different way to get to the crown prince. In the main hall, Hae-soo is standing and looking at the throne, talking to the 4th prince. Hae-soo only hopes that no one will have to die in that war, not even the 4th prince or the 8th prince. In the palace, the queen and royal consort are fighting over who will put the mourning cloth on the emperor. Just then, the 4th prince goes in to visit the emperor and remembers the memories from the past, shedding tears. Then, he personally puts the mourning cloth on his father. Then he tells Jimong to mobilize all the forces in the palace, because tomorrow, the 3rd prince and 8th prince will bring their troops to rebel. They have to stop them. The queen is stunned, begging them not to harm her son. If not, she will kill him, but the 4th prince rejects her. Royal consort tells him that now is the time for both of them to think of a way to save her son. The next day, the 3rd prince and 8th prince deployed their troops outside the palace to attack, but the silence was suspicious. Inside, the 4th prince and the general have also deployed their troops, ready and waiting. The two sides send people to fight. It's a war between the 4th prince and the 8th prince. The two princes fight each other fiercely, wanting to swallow each other alive. But at this time, the crown prince's troops flood in. The 3rd prince is about to go to the hall to take the throne when the 8th prince puts his sword to his neck, stopping him. It turns out that this is the 8th prince, Wang Wook's plan. He intentionally joined the rebels to trick the 3rd prince into falling for the bait. He has made a great contribution. At this time, the royal astrologer comes out and reads the will, giving the throne to Crown Prince Wang Mu. All the princes and soldiers kneel before the new king. Queen Yu, after a night where her hair turned white, disheveled, runs outside, seeing the scene, and breaks down. Before the funeral, Wang Wook and He Su meet again. She asks him why he lied to her. He asks if she still wants to choose Wang. So, He Su understands immediately. It turns out that Wang Wook wants to eliminate the 4th prince. The 8th prince doesn't deny it. To get to the throne, he has to eliminate the people who are blocking his path. He Su expresses her disappointment, so he has changed. The 8th prince says that she is the one who changed, hiding the emperor's death from him, and not considering his life important. He Su replies that the emperor wanted the crown prince to take the throne. This is heaven's will and can't be disobeyed. Moreover, she has also asked the 4th prince not to harm him. Clearly, the two of them had promised to leave together and live a comfortable life. Then, this is his chance. He can ask the new king, but the 8th prince refuses. Therese no other way anymore. He Su collapses. So that promise was just words on the wind. From now on, she wants both of them to keep their distance. Not because she doesn't love him anymore, but because he has never believed her feelings, not even once. Then, she bows and leaves. The two go in different directions. On this side, the 3rd prince is being chased by the 8th prince and 4th prince, cornering him to the edge of the cliff. Wang Wook wants to shoot an arrow to finish him off, but the 4th prince stops him, saying that they aren't hunting animals. Then, he jumps in to fight the 3rd prince with his sword. The 3rd prince's words inadvertently agitate him, causing him to draw his sword and stab him in the chest. As he pulls away, he is slashed in the leg and falls directly down below, disappearing. Even though the 4th prince tried to reach out to catch him, it was too late. The queen hears the news and can't believe it. This can't be happening to her. She wants to go check it out for herself, but the 14th prince stops her. "I told you to stay away from that guy. He'll end up killing all of your sons," she cries out, calling her son's name. The 14th prince hugs his mother, comforting her. "You still have me," but in his eyes, Hes still shocked. He Su comes out to ask him what happened, and hears the story. She can only gently hug the man who is crying. He Su is now promoted to head maid of Yami Institute, taking over Oh Song-gung's work. Che Ryong is also allowed to be a palace maid there. Even though He Su is no longer a lady, Che Ryong still calls her that. Today, as He Su is sitting and writing, Che Ryong comes in, giving her a pillowcase that she knitted herself for her birthday. The princes also give her gifts. The 13th prince gives her rose oil from Bulgaria. The 4th prince doesn't know what to give, only saying that it's an honor for a palace maid to have a prince visit her on her birthday. He Su says it's lucky for a palace maid to even be born. This makes the 4th prince speechless. In the evening, as He Su is reading, she hears the sound of a wolf howling. She knows that it's the 4th prince playing around. As she goes out, she teases him, saying that his wolf sound like a wolf or a dog. The 4th prince takes her outside to sit and look at the stars. The 4th prince, despite his appearance, knows about the stars, but He Su doesn't give in, pointing out other constellations and telling stories. The 4th prince doesn't seem to be listening to a word. He just sits and looks at her. When she catches him, he turns his head away. He says that he used to be jealous of his brothers, always wanting to take away his mother's love. Maybe the emperor knew that he would kill his brothers, but He Su says that she is actually the same. He asks her if she wants him to be with her, or if she wants him to give up, because being with He So always makes him feel peaceful. If she doesn't want to be with him, she shouldn't give him hope. He wants to lean down and kiss He Su, but she stops him, refusing to agree. During the court session, the 8th prince steps forward, saying that His Majesty has ordered all the troops of the nobles to return to the palace to expand the forces. This causes all the officials to be in an uproar. The 4th prince knows that this didn't happen, so he says not to take advantage of His Majesty being sick to take power, further enraging the nobles. His Majesty, who is sick, says that after he takes a bath, his whole body feels weak. When he wakes up, he doesn't know if it's day or night, but Su says that it's because His Majesty has insomnia. Then she leaves, leaving Che Ryong to serve. Che Ryong then puts more herbs into the water, but her eyes are shifty and suspicious. The 9th prince is standing outside, witnessing everything. He even intentionally asks Che Ryong about bringing mercury to the institute to make mirrors, then only smiles suspiciously and leaves. His Majesty, in his room, is huddled under the covers, shivering from the cold. Wang Wook, by his side, says that his great tribulation is coming. Now, he should hand the throne over to him. As long as he does that, he will let His Majesty live peacefully for the rest of his life. The next day, His Highness is sending his daughter to marry Liao. This is the only way to bring peace to the country. Even though the child definitely doesn't want to get married, His Majesty still forces the child into the sedan. His Majesty, at this time, is out of his mind, unable to distinguish between reality and dreams. Then, the 4th prince sees such a child, and remembers his past self also being like that. He runs to stop it, saying that sending her there is no different than making her a hostage. But His Majesty refuses. If he doesn't do it, who will protect him? Every day assassins are coming to assassinate him, making him unable to eat or sleep well. Suddenly His Majesty gets an idea. He wants the princess and the 4th prince to marry, so that he can be protected. This makes the 4th prince laugh dryly. It's morning, and Su is all dolled up, looking absolutely stunning, as she waits by the lake for the 4th prince. When he arrives, he is visibly mesmerized by her, but, playing it cool, he acts like nothing's happened, which totally bums Su out. Turns out, it's just a playful tease. The 4th prince then suggests a boat ride on the lake. Out on the water, they're laughing, talking, just completely lost in the moment. Seriously romantic vibes are everywhere. Now, fast forward to the next day. The 8th prince starts to bring up a sensitive issue during a court meeting, but the emperor cuts him off, already knowing the scoop. Just then, the 4th prince walks in. The emperor drops a bombshell. He's going to marry off a princess to the 4th prince. Talk about a plot twist. The emperor even hints that he might want to pass the throne down to Wang So, which makes sense because he'd be both the emperor's brother and son-in-law, an awesome combination. The 8th prince can only force a smile. There goes his power grab. Meanwhile, Su is busy taking care of the 10th prince and 14th prince's wives. When she catches wind of the news, the 4th prince is getting ready to marry the princess. It hits her hard. The 4th prince, feeling bad and guilty, keeps quiet. Seeing that she is hurt already, he doesn't want to make it worse. Su swallows her emotions and congratulates the prince, and leaves. Then the next day receives a letter from the 13th prince. Inside is a letter penned by the 4th prince himself, explaining everything. As she reads his words, Su finally gets it. She realizes she misunderstood him completely, kicking herself for being so naive. She sits in her room, rereading the letter over and over, not knowing what to say. She just copies his handwriting as a memento, tears streaming down her face. The 13th prince heads to the temple to visit his mother, but when he opens the door, he sees the queen talking to a shady figure the 3rd prince, Wang Yo. Turns out He's alive. He's back to make another play for the throne. The 13th prince tries to stop him, but the 3rd prince argues that the emperor has gone mad and is unfit to rule. The emperor orders a curfew, forbidding anyone from moving about. While patrolling, the 4th prince spots a figure entering Yami Palace and gives chase. As He's about to barge in, court lady Su stops him, claiming she was just reading and saw no one. But knowing him, the 4th prince advances forward, and she threatens to kill herself with a hairpin to protect her innocence if he invades the space of an unmarried woman. He barges in and sees that the figure is the 14th prince, whom Su has been hiding. 14th prince tells her that it's time to pick a side now that the princes are at war with one another. Su insists that she will not side with anyone, since she doesn't want anyone to get hurt. The 4th prince grabs Su by the arm and drags her outside, demanding to know if the 14th prince was in her room last night. Furious, Su lashes out, questioning why he didn't explain anything to her beyond sending a letter. She demands the real reason for the marriage. He explains that he did it to save a child from being sent as a hostage to another country. He knew that she hated the idea of multiple wives, so he didn't know how to explain it. Su understands now and tells him that the 14th prince was simply returning late from his martial arts practice, which is why she hit him. Su asks if he regrets the marriage, however. He said that it was unavoidable in order to protect the princess. Su asks when Wang So came along and said that he loved her. Su, in response, puts her lips on his and says that they mustn't forget their promises. Then the two share a warm kiss. The 13th prince, for his part, has been reunited with Wu He. Meanwhile, The 9th prince leads the mysterious figure to the 8th prince. It's the 3rd prince. He reveals that the 8th prince ordered someone to bring Mercury to the palace, so the emperor has been harmed by him. The 3rd prince then leads his troops to the place where the emperor is taking a bath, and Su is. Before she can help him, the emperor is captured by the 3rd prince's men. His Majesty struggled continuously and suffocated before long. The 4th prince and the royal astronomer rush in, but it's too late. The astronomer collapses beside the emperor, desperately pleading for him to open his eyes. But there is nothing he can do. Then the 3rd prince steps forward and accuses Su of poisoning the emperor. He claims they found mercury in the emperor's water, leaving Su completely shocked. The 3rd prince puts the 4th prince in an impossible position. Either let him take the throne, or Su will be executed for regicide, for killing the king. This isn't just a power grab. This is the 3rd prince, back from the dead, staging a full-blown coup. The 4th prince makes a heartbreaking choice. To save Su, he lowers his sword, kneels, and pledges allegiance to the new king, the 3rd prince. Meanwhile, Jimong, the emperor's advisor, is heartbroken as he remembers their shared past in conversations. It's a tragic moment. The 4th prince wants to get Su out of the palace, but the new king has issued a decree. If Su escapes the palace, her crime of killing the emperor will be made public, guaranteeing her execution. The 3rd prince is ruthless. He orders the execution of all rival clans and princes to eliminate any future threats to his reign. Brutal move. The 10th prince, Wang Yun, and his wife manage to escape, but the new king sends his men to hunt them down. Inside the palace, the queen mother congratulates her son, the 3rd prince, encouraging him to eliminate all the other princes. She tells him to leave the politics to him and let her enjoy the riches and glory of the kingdom. Then the 4th prince arrives. The new king orders him to kill the 10th prince, using Su as leverage. Wang So has no choice but to comply. The next day, the 4th prince says goodbye to Su, telling her he's going outside the palace to find rebels for an uprising. But while speaking with Ryeo, Su learns Wang So is going to kill the 10th prince. She's horrified. Just as she leaves her room, she sees the 10th prince and his wife disguised and arriving at the facility. Desperate, Su hides them in her room to let them hide out for a while. The 4th prince goes to the 8th prince's room and asks if he was the one who hurt the emperor, because the situation has been going on for 2 years. Of course, the 8th prince denies it, stating that the princes who are not on the throne will have to accept the situation. One evening, Su is serving tea to the new emperor, and he purposely asks her why she put mercury in Emperor Wang Mu's water. Su only answers coldly that she never did it. She then added that if the new emperor tortured her, she would reveal to the public that he was the one who ordered her to do it, to which the new emperor smirked and said that the situation was interesting. Su asks him to let her know who it was that hurt the emperor. Coincidentally, the 8th prince arrives to speak with the emperor, to which Su says the situation is similar to speak of the devil. Su understands and realizes that the 8th prince was the one who was behind the conspiracy and the plan to assassinate the emperor. She did not expect that he would do something like that. Outside the palace, the 8th prince says he is sad for her to witness the death of the emperor. Su asks if he was part of the conspiracy. However, he recalls a conversation with the queen, where he says that he will not miss the things that should have been his, because of Su, and to protect his family. Back at the palace, the 4th prince has been waiting for Su, and asks her if he has found the person he has been looking for. He says that the person he is looking for is the 10th prince, Wang Yun, but he has been planning to let him escape. But still, she thinks of killing his brothers, which makes Su uneasy. The 14th prince reveals to Sun Duke that he has been tasked along with Su and the 10th prince and his wife in the escape. There is a boat that will take everyone out of the facility, but Su remembers that there is a secret tunnel that can let everyone escape. Sun Duke and the 13th prince have a mission to clear the obstruction for the tunnel. While they are resting, the two share about the people they like and that no matter what, they will always move forward and make sure that they win the heart of the person they like. Princess Yanhua arrives to congratulate the new emperor, and the emperor says that he would like to discuss marriage with her. The princess thinks that she would be made queen. However, she finds out that she is to be married off to the country of Liao. She is disappointed that everyone is threatening her with her marriage, and throws away her engagement ring, while remembering that the person she likes doesn't even like her back. And she starts crying because she feels the need to always be in her room. Because the 10th prince has been in his room the whole day, he has been feeling very restless. So, to get away, Sun Duke coaxes the 10th prince to take a relaxing bath. Since no one's around to stop them, they turn bath time into playtime. They playfully fold towels into animal shapes, racing them like boats across the water, laughing, having fun, and just being happy together. He even gifts her a sweet-smelling pouch. The next morning, Su smiles as she sees the towel animals outside the bathing area. Realizing the playful couple had a fun time. Suddenly, Princess Yeonhwa enters, saying she needs to talk to Su. She warns Su to distance herself from the 4th prince. Yeonhwa knows what Su is up to, protecting the 10th prince. The princess even offers to help Su get married into a respectable family. But Su refuses. If the 4th prince's love is true, she'll never leave him. This enrages Yeonhwa, who vows that Su will regret her decision. Yeonhwa then goes to the new emperor and the 8th prince, offering to help them in exchange for calling off her marriage. The next day, Yeonhwa meets with the 4th prince, revealing that Su is hiding the 10th prince. She mentions seeing lots of towel animals in the facility. As they're about to leave, they hear the sounds of soldiers fighting outside. The plan is falling apart. Soon, Duke urges Su to take the 10th prince to a different route, promising to hold off the soldiers herself. The 10th prince and his wife fight bravely, but the soldiers are overwhelming. They are no match for the army. The 10th prince begs the new emperor to spare his family, promising never to return to Goryeo. But the emperor signals for them to be killed, to protect her husband. Soon Duke takes a fatal blow for him, falling into his arms. As the emperor prepares to shoot the 10th prince with an arrow, the 4th prince steps in, blocking the shot with his sword. Is this really necessary? He asks. But the emperor insists on eradicating any potential threats. The emperor has to eradicate weeds from the roots so that nothing grows back. The emperor uses the moment that the 4th prince is distracted and shoots a fatal arrow at the 10th prince. The arrow goes directly into his heart. Taking place in excruciating pain, the prince asks the 4th prince to grant him one last birthday gift by killing him so that they can go to the afterlife together. The 4th prince, heartbroken, agrees and raises his sword to end him with a single stroke. The 4th prince laughs maniacally in anguish. The pain he has caused has forever stained his hands. His hand has been forever stained with so much blood. Su witnesses everything in horror, finally understanding that the 10th prince asked the 4th prince to kill him. The 4th prince is outside looking at the main hall and vows that he will become king. That night, the 4th prince confronts Su, asking if she hid the 10th prince because she didn't trust him. Su explains that she did it to prevent either side from getting hurt, but that she always trusted him. But this only hurts the 4th prince more. He doesn't want to be hurt by Su's lack of trust. It is more painful to know that the person you care about more than anyone does not trust you with their decision. This is the end of us, he says. We are telling the truth or not telling the truth. We promise not to lie to each other. Su watches the man she loves leave, tears streaming down her face. The truth is, the 4th prince is also heartbroken to say goodbye. Because of his success, the 8th prince is rewarded with land and a mansion near the palace, and Hes also put in charge of overseeing the construction of the new capital. The 14th prince enters to report on the situation, returning the arrow that the new emperor used to shoot the 10th prince. The emperor sees the arrow and suddenly hallucinates, hearing the 10th prince's screams. Hes, starting to lose it, he decides to visit the temple for some peace. Hearing that the 4th prince is leaving, Su rushes to their usual meeting place, but she doesn't see him. She promises to wait for him through spring, summer, autumn, and winter. 2 years pass. Cheol Ryong, now a high-ranking court lady, tells Su that she has a special visitor. Could it be him? Su races to the door, but when she opens it, it's the 14th prince, now a high-ranking general. Despite her disappointment, she treats him kindly. They talk pleasantly together. As Hes leaving, they run into the 13th prince and Woohee, who are also visiting. Su overhears the 13th prince asking if the 4th prince has been around, and Shez shocked. So, Hes back too? The emperor is constantly hallucinating and losing his mind, spending his days at the temple, chanting. The queen goes in to see the new emperor, pleading with him to let the 13th prince, Wang Yung, take the throne. In her eyes, her own son is just a pig worthy enough to take the throne, and not capable enough. She says that the emperor is about to die, so he has to give up the throne. Suddenly, the 4th prince enters. The emperor screams, suggesting that Wang So should be made crown prince instead. After all, they're brothers. The queen mother is furious and storms out. Back at the royal quarters, the emperor is raging about the slow progress of the capital's construction. The 4th prince reports that there is a labor shortage and a lack of resources. He throws his cup at the 4th prince in anger, even grabbing Su's hand tightly. If you don't have enough, don't let them sleep. Exploit them to finish it on time, he barks. The 4th prince kneels, taking the blame. The 8th prince intervenes, and the emperor finally releases Su. Ever since the 4th prince left, Su has been constantly thinking of him, always writing the poem he once sent. Cheol Ryong suggests that she go for a walk. Su meets the 4th prince at the lake, but as Hes about to leave, Wang Jung throws his arms around him, desperate for him to stay. "Do you still hate me?" she asks. The fourth prince coldly pushes her away. A truly heartbreaking moment for those lovers. In the royal court, Wu He, the princess, tells everyone that Wang So is deliberately delaying the construction. This infuriates the emperor. He asks Wang So why he broke his promise about exploiting the people of Wu He's land. The emperor then uses the 13th prince as leverage to threaten her. As the emperor and 9th prince are strolling, they spot the 4th prince and He Su together. They still seem close. The 9th prince observes. "Perhaps we should test that," he suggests, scheming. The emperor grabs his bow and aims at He Su, but the 4th prince rushes to her, taking the arrow for her. He Su asks how his wound is. However, the 4th prince brushes her off. It shows that he is protective of her. He Su has the 13th prince arrange for her to visit Wang So's mansion the next day to heal him. Wang So, in his delirium, sees the figure of the woman he loves. He Su sees the scars on his back. She is sad. Wang So wakes up to find himself in clean clothes, and He Su is asleep by his side. He reaches out to touch her face, and He Su wakes up. "Do you still remember me?" she asks, risking her life to ask this. She said, "I have always thought of you for the last 2 years. Will you be honest?" The 4th prince responds to her with a kiss. He Su embraces him tightly, and the two get lost in each other. They share quiet moments, making shadow puppets on the wall, eating together, and stargazing. As they're stargazing, the royal astronomer enters, saying that the emperor is having nightmares, constantly hallucinating and seeing vengeful spirits collapsing on the ground. Jimong warns that other factions are starting to move. "This is our chance. We need to make a decision quickly." He Su asks if He's abandoning her for the throne. He replies, "I have to do this so that no one will bother us ever again." He Su just wants them to live peacefully together, but the 4th prince has to become the emperor. She realizes that only by taking the throne can things change. He Su doesn't want the 4th prince to become king, but she doesn't want to leave him either. But she begs him not to kill his brothers. The 4th prince takes her hand, a silent promise. He Su pours tea for the emperor, her hands trembling. "You know what's going on, don't you?" The emperor says. "You were planning to kill me. It's all your fault. You covered Wang So's scars. You're stealing my place." Suddenly there's the sound of drums and trumpets outside. The queen mother rushes in, grabbing paper and ink. "Hurry! Write your will," passing the throne to the 14th prince. The emperor understands now. He's just been used by his mother. If He's no longer king, he'll be thrown away. He finally understands how Wang So felt. He orders his men to take the queen mother away. He Su quietly tries to leave, but the emperor stops her. Queen Huangbo approaches Yanhua asking her, "Are you determined? Would you rather have the world and lose the person you love, or have that person and live in the shadows?" Yanhua decides she wants the world. She then visits the 4th prince, promising to help him bring troops into the palace easily. "It'll be like flipping my hand." On the other side, the emperor is sick, and he hands her the written will and asks her to decide who should be the next emperor. But before the emperor can finish writing his will, he collapses. Wang So bursts into the room and tears up the will. Soldiers pour in, and they see He Su bowing before the new king, Wang So. So the 4th emperor of Goryeo is Wang So. The new king seems to be popular with everyone. As He Su watches the man she loves become emperor, she smiles, thinking, he won't stain his hands with blood anymore. I'll help him. Yanhua meets with the 8th prince, saying, "When I become empress, I'll get revenge for you." The new emperor, Wang So, proves to be an astute ruler, handling state affairs efficiently. He even enjoys a happy meal with He Su and the 13th prince. He makes sure to be a great emperor so that they will trust him. As he goes to sleep, the new emperor, Wang So, has nightmares and wants He Su to sleep with him. She is sympathetic but helpless, as she gently tells him a story, Little Red Riding Hood, to lull him to sleep. The next day, while Wang Zheng is talking with Wu He, the Queen Mother's people arrive, summoning him to her presence. It turns out they found Emperor You's torn will. The Queen Mother suspects that Wang So wasn't the intended heir. Even though He Su denies it, the Queen Mother refuses to believe her. Luckily, the Emperor arrives, stopping the Queen Mother. The Emperor threatens the Queen to go to the underworld and find out the truth. He says that he was not the one who ripped up the letter. Wang So says that he can visit him from now on if she asks him. The new king isn't popular with everyone. The people want to overthrow him, therefore. The Emperor commands that those who give slanderous statements will be murdered to cut the roots. He Su visits the Emperor. He tells her, "I am so lonely now. I have no one by my side." He Su takes his hand, saying, "But I'm here." This comforts him greatly. On the other hand, the 14th prince and the other clans want to claim autonomy, refusing to support the emperor. The royal astronomer advises the emperor to either show them the will or form a powerful alliance with other clans. As He Su is walking to her room, she meets the 8th prince. They stop to talk. So, you still chose the 4th prince. The 8th prince says, why did you say you didn't like the throne, but now you've become the emperor's woman? Su replies, because He's honest with me. He doesn't hide his ambition and tells me everything. I'm just trying to help him. The 8th prince asks why she didn't think he could be emperor. Su replies, because Prince Wang So was born with the star of an emperor. It's fate. The 8th prince is disappointed. So Wang So became emperor just because of that stupid star? The 8th prince returns to his room, looking at the bracelet he gave Su, remembering their memories. He smashes it into pieces. Princess Yanhua enters the room, shocked. He tells her he'll help her become empress. If the 4th prince has the throne, he can't have Su either. On the other side, the emperor is writing poetry with Su. He asks why she's making him write so much. Su replies, Therese a reason to use it. The new emperor mentions, first you had me give you a room. Then you told me to give you money for rent and medicine. Then I was going to reward the other princes as well. Are you not going to give me anything? The emperor hears this and is unhappy. He is jealous and said that he is the only one who should have all of her attention. Su said that they are together and nothing will separate them. Su sees that He's been smiling a lot lately and asks him why. Su asked the new emperor why he had been happy lately. The emperor said not to guess, because she did not know the answer. The new emperor is angry and teases her and tells her that he is going to leave. Su pouts, saying, I'm just asking because you're doing nothing all day. She then asks if she can work at the palace, also requesting that Che Ryong stay with her. Seeing Su's adorable appearance, the emperor can't refuse, but he promises not to let Su be lonely. The emperor tells Su, if you give birth and raise children, the royal physician will come to examine Su tomorrow. Su is taken aback at the news. She hasn't even married the emperor yet. So why is he already thinking about having children with her? The royal physician examines Su and reveals that she needs to pay closer attention to her health. Her mood is often not good, which is leading to her body getting sick. If things continue like this, her lifespan will be affected, and she won't be able to live much longer. Su is shocked, but manages a smile. At the stone tomb, she promises herself that she'll take care of her health. She wants to be with the person she loves for a long time. Just then, the 14th prince arrives, asking if she's praying for the emperor. Su replies, I'm praying that the 14th prince can become my friend like before. The prince is up front, asking, why did you betray us and side with 4th brother? He could not understand her reasoning. Su urges him not to be angry and go down the wrong path, saying, the emperor took the throne according to heaven's will. The prince says, that may be true, but since 4th brother returned, the war between the brothers has become more brutal. I worry you'll get caught up in it. He asks her about becoming the queen. Su says she hasn't thought that far ahead. She hadn't even thought about what it would entail. The queen is forced to use her family's name and become the king's arm. That's why the emperor marries so many wives, he explains. If things continue like this, Su will just be one of the king's women. The 14th prince doesn't want Su to be sad, so he tells her he has a way to get So out of this whole situation, Therese a way out, he suggests. Meanwhile, in the palace, the emperor is waiting for the 8th prince. The 8th prince says, the ministers want the emperor not to interfere in politics and military matters. Of course, the emperor refuses. That's like cutting off my wings, he exclaims. The 8th prince counters, if you don't want to give up your wings, then how about your heart? Huangbo and Wang Yo urgently request to marry the emperor. At the same time, Princess Yanhua visits Su, constantly praising how beautiful the room is. Su says, if you want to say something, just say it. She wanted to get straight to the point. Yanhua says she came to talk about what they both want to say. She won't care if Su becomes the emperor's concubine. All I want is honor and recognition, and for my son to become king. I'm going to marry the emperor, I'll become the king's wife. I'll become the queen, she declares. Back in the emperor's quarters, the 8th prince says, if you marry Yanhua, you'll attract the support of the elite clans. The Huangbo clan will also support the emperor. He emphasizes, the emperor is unmoved. Don't try to sway me, he says. The 8th prince warns, if you want to secure the throne, you have to win over the people of the elite clans. The emperor chuckles, replying, I already have a marriage agreement with someone else. Su? She can't become the emperor's woman. She has a mark on her own hand. The person with scars can't become the emperor's woman. What is the point, if you know this? Su hears that the man she loves is planning to marry someone else, and she is devastated. She is shaken by the news, but she calms herself, thinking, If I don't hear it from the emperor's mouth, I won't believe it. Yanhua tells her that the elite clans are resisting the emperor. If you marry He Su, you'll soon abdicate. But if he marries me, my family will support you. What's more, the emperor's woman can't have scars. He Su realizes that she can't be with the emperor. Scars were permanent and could not be erased. Yanhua explains that if she can convince the emperor to marry her, she would be able to support the emperor. Unlike He Su, Yanhua states how the two can coexist. The choice is yours. Therese, no one else qualified to stand beside the emperor, but me. Only someone like her would know how to rule. The 8th prince asks the emperor, if you marry He Su, you'll be forced to abdicate. So what will you choose, He Su or the throne? The emperor confidently replies, I'm already sitting here, I have everything. A small scar can't make me give up. He Su, because I had a scar and still got to be emperor. In Queen Huangbo's quarters, the queen warns the emperor, be careful, because the elite clans are openly opposing you. They're going to divide this country into pieces. The previous emperor had to give up everything for the country to be at peace. I also gave up my son and personally offered my daughter to you, the queen states. Knowing she can't convince the emperor, Queen Huangbo plays her trump card, presenting a stolen notebook from He Su. The handwriting is illegible. Her gestures strange. Someone like that becoming queen would be a target for criticism. But none of this matters to the emperor, who arrogantly replies, what's so great about this position anyway? At the palace, Qiao Ryong asks He Su if the emperor is really going to marry Yanhua. Qiao Ryong then tells He Su that the empress had commanded them to start to prepare for the royal wedding. Right then, the royal astronomer walks in, and they both go to visit the room where the princes used to gather. The royal astronomer shares memories of them, touching He Su's heart. The royal family was very supportive and had a warm heart. The royal astronomer admits they care about the princes a lot and mentions, I came here because I wanted to ask you to give up your marriage to the emperor. He Su refuses, saying she's waited too long to give up now. The royal astronomer asks what has happened to the princes in that room. What have they become? If the throne isn't secure, it will soon lead to a rebellion. Can you protect the emperor? He asks and tells He Su, that's why you can't be queen. He was worried that she would bring danger to the man she loves. He Su becomes short of breath, clutching her chest, in tears. In the evening, as the emperor is sitting in the palace, He Su invites him to take a walk with her. It's the night of expelling evil, so it'll be lively. They hold hands, strolling down the street, reminiscing about their past. They play the mask game and pray together. Back at the palace, the emperor proposes to He Su, marry me, but He Su tears up, saying she can't. She can't offer him anything besides comfort. She makes a valid argument. She explains that becoming queen would force her to conform to strict rituals that she doesn't like. She takes his face in her hands, comforting him. It'll be fine. He Su tries to make him understand that her choice was the best, so that there would be no conflict. The emperor embraces He Su, vowing never to give her up. You're mine. You're not allowed to leave me. You're my only queen. The wedding between the emperor and Princess Yanhua takes place. One person is happy, but the other can't even smile. He Su stands in her room, wearing the wedding dress she intended to wear for her own wedding. All she can do is sadly look at herself in the mirror. At the stone pagoda, as He Su is praying, the 14th prince comes to comfort her. He offers to help her leave, to live a free life with him. If you agree, he'll help you leave whenever you want. What is stopping you? He asks. On their wedding night, the emperor silently leaves the newlywed to be together in the room. Yanhua says, He Su will always be used, so she should be eliminated. The emperor warns her not to go too far. Just play your role as queen well, he says, warning her to know her place. Yanhua is hurt and alone. He Su still hasn't left that night. Qiao Ryong comes to talk to her. He Su asks what she wishes for. Qiao Ryong replies that she's missing her parents. He Su kneels, saying, I'm doing well, comforting her. The emperor watches from afar, a dark plot forming in his mind. At court, the emperor orders the 14th prince to be exiled back to his hometown for treason. He warns that anyone who lets him set foot in Sung A will be executed. This news reaches Queen Yu, causing her to have a stroke and collapse. He Su is shocked, because this is the harshest punishment besides execution, and Hez also being stripped of his position as a general. She wants to convince the emperor, but Wu He stops her, saying she can't do anything. Hearing that his mother is ill, the emperor and Queen Yanhua visit her. The emperor says he'll take care of his mother from now on, and that no one else is allowed to help. Queen Yu stares at her son, unable to do anything as he wipes her sweat. Outside, the 14th prince is blocked by soldiers, and not allowed to enter. He can only stand outside, refusing to eat or sleep. During a meal, He Su urges the emperor to let the prince visit his mother, but the emperor refuses, saying he'll punish her if she does that again. The emperor feeds the queen mother porridge, but she refuses to open her mouth, let alone eat a spoonful. Queen Yu keeps calling out the 14th prince's name. The emperor tells Queen Yu, "Now you only have me. I'll build you the biggest temple in Goryeo. I'll make up stories about how much we loved each other. Everything is to become your one and only son." The queen, hearing this, has a sudden heart attack. She touches her son's face and breathes her last breath. The emperor, heartbroken, cries like a child as he holds his mother's hand. The 14th prince enters, stunned as he looks at his mother's body. The emperor asks him, "Why do you always defend the 14th prince? You should defended me. For 25 years, I never felt my mother's love. Was it wrong of me to see her off in the end?" Su reaches out to touch his face, but he brushes her hand away. Seeing the person she loves become like this, Su can only sigh helplessly. The emperor calls for the 9th prince to come to the palace, and asks if the 8th prince was the one who poisoned the emperor's bathwater. The 9th prince denies it, but the emperor reveals that Ryeo was the one who mixed the water, and that the 9th and 8th princes brought her in. Afraid to die, the 9th prince says that it was the 8th prince, and the late emperor who did it. He was just helping. The emperor slams the table in anger. "Then I'll ask you one more thing." At the palace, Su senses that the atmosphere is different. She can't find Ryeo anywhere. Going outside, she sees soldiers brutally beating a court lady. When she tries to intervene, the royal astronomer stops her. The court lady of the palace committed a serious crime and is being punished, he says. Su asks who it is. He says it's Ryeo. Su sees Ryeong's body and collapses, constantly thinking of her in her dreams. She has so many regrets. The emperor visits her, and as Su wakes and tries to get up, the emperor comes to support her. But Su pushes him away. The emperor then reveals that he did it because Ryeo was always betraying Su, stealing things, and giving them to others, leading Su to be suspected as a spy. Ryeo also added mercury to the late emperor's water, and she revealed the secret path that led to the 10th prince's capture. But Su argues that her only crime was being born a slave. She only did it because she was forced. As the emperor leaves, Su sees a letter written in strange red ink on the table. It's Ryeong's last will. Su realizes that she never knew that Ryeo could read and write. In the letter, Ryeo asks Su to take care of her family. She also expresses her love for the 9th prince, asking Su to understand her feelings and not blame her. The emperor returns to his room and sees a figure on the bed wearing a mask. Thinking it's Su visiting him, he embraces the figure, ready to kiss her. But then he senses something is wrong, and he pulls off the mask to reveal Queen Yeonhwa. Yeonhwa says that the emperor wants her to play her role as queen well, so there has to be a fair trade. "I want to be in charge of carrying on the royal line. My son with you will become king." The emperor asks if she's willing to give up her family and become his only queen. If she dares, he'll let her son become the heir, and Yeonhwa can become the queen mother. Back at the palace, Su is still reeling from Ryeong's death. She asks the 13th prince to tell the 14th prince that she's willing to leave with him. The emperor visits. Seeing that Su still isn't well, he reaches out to take her out of the room, but it only makes Su more tired. She says she doesn't want to go back there because it's lonely. The emperor retorts that she should not treat him coldly just because of Ryeo. "She was just using you." Su disagrees, saying she was genuine with her. Su asks to leave the palace. She can't take it anymore, she's too tired. The emperor refuses. Yeonhwa is in the bathtub, remembering the emperor's words that Goryeo must belong to her son. Su asks the royal astronomer to deliver some things to Ryeong's family. Just then, the 9th prince enters, his smile infuriating Su. She warns him, "You're going to regret this." The 9th prince laughs, asking if Su thinks she's the emperor's lover and can do whatever she wants. The emperor calls Su in to bestow upon her the title of royal consort, and promises to make her the 2nd empress after she gives birth. Su doesn't like the idea of polygamy, so she rejects the offer. Meanwhile, the 8th prince is plotting with the 9th prince, trying to sow discord between the 13th prince and the emperor. They send people to kill those loyal to later Baekje, and display their bodies at the market for all to see as a warning. Princess Woohee, strolling with the 13th prince, sees this and is horrified. In court, the royal astronomer reports that the former Baekje people are rebelling, killing many nobles. He requests troops to suppress the rebellion, but the emperor refuses. Doing so would cause casualties and damage his reputation among the people. Nobles plead with the emperor to send troops to protect them, so the emperor orders troops to be sent, but they're not allowed to use sharp weapons to avoid bloodshed. The 8th prince seizes the opportunity, suggesting that the 13th prince lead the troops. He makes an argument stating, if word gets out that the later Baekje people are controlling the ministers in court, it will be difficult to keep things under control. Hearing this, the 13th prince asks the emperor to let him lead the troops, saying he'll be fine. The 13th prince combs Wu He's hair, promising to marry her when he returns. Princess Wu He happily thinks to herself that she wants to be his wife, but she knows that can never happen. The emperor issues a decree abolishing slave status for the people of Later Baekje to appease them, but they don't believe it, thinking the emperor is slandering them. They become even angrier and march into the city. As they enter, Wu He is standing on the city wall, next to a banner that says, "Unite the three Hans." This confuses. The 13th prince tries to stop her, but she tells him not to come closer, because she fears he won't forget this image. She didn't want him to have nightmares. Wu He, as a princess, must repay for her mistakes with her life. Her decisions have consequences. The 13th prince embraces Wu He's body, crying out. That night, looking at a drawing of his beloved looking tired, He Su comes to comfort him, urging him not to hurt himself. The 13th prince remembers that the emperor knew Wu He's identity. So, the next day, he goes to the palace to confront the emperor, who says he didn't expect her to choose death to free her people. "I did it to save you," the emperor argues. The 13th prince says he knows, but can't accept it. He bows his head and leaves, despite the emperor calling out to him. Back in his room, the emperor looks at Yanhua and asks if She's made up her mind. Yanhua nods. The next day, the 8th prince presents the emperor with a falcon for hunting. The 9th prince praises the brotherhood, saying that harmony in the family leads to peace in the nation. But when they open the cage, there's a dead falcon. Other officials and families quickly accuse this of cursing the emperor, saying it can't be tolerated. "This is clearly treason," they exclaim. "It's irrefutable, Your Majesty." The 8th prince kneels, begging, saying He's being framed. But the emperor says he deserves death. Emperor Wang So is cunning, colluding with the 9th prince and other families to frame the 8th prince. Queen Huangbo rushes into the queen's room, begging her to save her brother. But the queen refuses, saying she can't interfere in state affairs over such a small matter. Queen Huangbo did not believe that. "You think my brother's life is a small matter?" she asks, incredulous. "Now that I'm queen, even if I feel sorry for my brother, I can only prioritize the big picture." Queen Huangbo is angry and speechless, unable to believe her children are harming each other. The 8th prince is still kneeling in the palace as He Su goes to see the emperor, begging him to spare the 8th prince. The emperor knows He Su cares about the princes, but the fact that she personally kneels and begs for the 8th prince is too much for him to bear. He Su reveals that she already knew the emperor was the one who killed the falcon, that he was pushing Prince Wang Wook to the brink of death. Emperor Wang So says has done so much and even tried to separate them, asking, "Why should I let him live?" He Su begs the emperor to stop. "Otherwise, you'll face retribution. I don't want people to call you a bloodthirsty king." Seeing He Su's tears, the emperor relents and agrees not to kill him. Instead, the 8th prince will be exiled to his hometown, locked in a room, and not allowed to leave. This punishment is more suitable for him than death, the emperor says. He Su looks at the emperor, fear in her heart. She can't believe He has become this ruthless. He Su is sitting blankly in the palace, picking petals off a flower. When Queen Yanhua enters, He Su says she's heard about the 8th prince, and that the queen must be hurting. Yanhua admits she's been struggling internally, wondering if she caused harm to her brother. "But I realized that the person who changed him wasn't me, but you. Time after time, you always said to be careful of the 4th prince, and not to get in his way. Because he liked you, he tried to become emperor. Even if he dies, he wouldn't accept another man as emperor. But you kept talking about the 4th prince becoming emperor, changing my brother." She continues. He Su can't believe she caused all of this. Yanhua says, "You're the one who ruined everyone, yet you have the nerve to live until now." While the emperor is painting, the 14th prince enters, bringing the late emperor Wang Yo's will, which states that he should marry He Su. The emperor reads it and throws it away, calling it a fake. But the 14th prince insists the handwriting is real. He Su isn't the queen, and isn't in the harem, so there is no reason why they can't marry. Plus, has already announced it to everyone. The emperor clenches his fists, ready to order his execution. But the 14th prince says this is He Su's wish. She's agreed to marry him. Wang So bursts into her room, asking if He Su knows about this. He Su is surprised and asks, "Since when?" The 14th prince says it happened when Wang Jung returned from fighting foreign invaders. "But I know this isn't true. It has to be fake," he exclaims. This was impossible. He Su says she agreed, knowing the punishment for disobeying the will. She also says that she can't be by his side anymore, because she sometimes feels disgusted by their relationship. "I don't want us to only have hate for each other. I should leave," she says. But before she can finish, the emperor refuses. Yanhua enters the room, criticizing the emperor for not following the will, saying he ruthlessly made her give up her family, but won't let He Su go. "I'll wait and see how stubborn you can be. You may give up the throne, but I want," she declares. The 8th prince is sitting pensively in his room, remembering when Su came to tell him the emperor had spared his life. He asked what would happen if she got hurt. Su replied that she would do the same for any of the princes. She advises him to give up both the throne and her, so no one else will suffer. Just then, Queen Yeonhwa enters, asking him to help her with something. The next day, the 8th prince tells the emperor that he needs to talk about his relationship with Su. He claims that before she became the emperor's woman, Su was his fiancée. Before she was anything to him, she was his. Enraged, the emperor confronts Su, saying, "So that's why you were so worried about Wang Wook. That bracelet you wore, the secret meeting place at the palace. It turns out you were engaged to Wang Wook. The person you loved before was Wang Wook," he exclaims. Su confirms, "Yes, that's right." The emperor is heartbroken, thinking back to everything. "Say it's a lie. We promise not to lie to each other." Su tries to approach him, but the emperor instinctively steps back, avoiding her. He coldly pushes Su away, saying he doesn't want to see her again. Su has completely broken down. Even the man she loves doesn't trust her anymore. What's the point of staying? On the day she leaves, the emperor doesn't come to see her off. The 13th prince offers her a farewell drink, saying he regrets letting her go. But Su says that leaving the palace is the only way. "Even though it breaks my heart, our relationship has cost too much." The 8th prince also comes to say goodbye. He tells her to take care of herself and cut ties completely. He then takes a deep breath and embraces her tightly. "This is the end of our connection in this life." They both smile as a farewell. Su turns back, hoping her love will come. "If we hadn't met, we wouldn't have loved. If we hadn't known each other, we wouldn't miss each other. If we had never been together, we wouldn't have to part. It's better not to have met at all," she says, her mind running with different things that have happened and what would happen. Meanwhile, in his room, the emperor is hugging Su's wedding dress, weeping. The 14th prince is waiting at his home. He takes Su's hand and leads her inside. Hes secretly prepared a wedding ceremony for them, knowing Su is sad. He tells her Hes only helping her leave the palace. They're still just friends. He finishes by giving Su the hairpin that the 4th prince once gave her. At the 14th prince's residence, Su sits, drawing her lover's image on stone, while the 14th prince practices martial arts. The 14th prince knows someone is watching them, so he purposefully has Su wipe the sweat off his face. He tells her to go inside because the doctor is coming soon. The doctor takes her pulse, saying she's already pregnant, but she's weak. If she gives birth, it's likely to be life-threatening. But Su says she'll be fine, as long as her child is born healthy. She was ready to risk her life, but only for her child. The 14th prince keeps the news a secret, telling her to rest. He would not tell anyone. The emperor receives the news from his investigation, and is furious. What he doesn't know is that Su is drawing images of her lover day after day. The emperor secretly visits, and sees the 14th prince carrying Su into her room. Hes consumed with jealousy. Su and the 14th prince are talking and laughing together in the room. He even makes her laugh, which the emperor overhears, making him even angrier. The emperor orders that he no longer receive reports about Su. It's best if he doesn't hear about her at all. On the day Su gives birth, the 14th prince is anxiously waiting outside. Seeing the baby isn't his makes him slightly unhappy. After giving birth, Su is very weak. She quietly hands him a letter, asking him to send it to the emperor, saying she wants to see him. Seeing Su's handwriting, he sits down to write a response. The emperor sees that she is asking to see him, so he just throws the letter aside, thinking it's just a letter filled with curses. Su, not knowing why the emperor isn't responding, looks despondent. The 14th prince, seeing her sadness, invites her out to clear her head. Hes invited the most famous singing troupe from Sung-ae. Hearing the introduction of the song that the emperor's favorite concubine, Su, used to sing, Su realizes it's the song she sang for the 10th prince's birthday. Knowing she won't survive for long, she begs the 14th prince to protect her child, and never let him enter the palace. Su wearily leans her head on the 14th prince's shoulder. He asks if she'll remember him in the next life. Su replies, "I'll forget everything." Su dies in the 14th prince's arms. The emperor hears about Su's death and can't believe it. He grabs the pile of letters that the 14th prince sent, and reads them, weeping uncontrollably. Shez always loved him. She remembers all their memories and always will. The emperor rides furiously out of the palace. He bursts into her room, crying out Su's name like a child. But seeing the urn on the table, it's too late. The 14th prince blames him for arriving too late. The emperor angrily grabs his collar, saying it's all his fault. But shouldn't he have known that Su was dying? "You have spies everywhere," he exclaims. The 13th prince stops him, saying that he should have known that the emperor wasn't hearing news from either of them. The emperor hugs the urn, weeping uncontrollably, and carries it away. The 14th prince tries to stop him, but the 13th prince intervenes. "Remember who Su wanted to be with," he says. "She was caught between you two. Don't you want her to rest in peace?" The 14th prince pulls out Su's belongings, weeping. The 13th prince understands and embraces him, offering comfort. The 9th prince is executed for treason, forced to drink poison. The 13th prince visits the 8th prince and sees a child hiding behind a tree. Approaching, he learns it's the 8th prince's daughter, named Sun Duke. The name sounds familiar. He remembers Wu He. Just then, the 8th prince arrives. They take a walk in the garden. The 8th prince has aged, and his health is failing. But He's still secretly watching political events. He says He's been thinking about many people from the past lately. Wang Yung asks if He's thinking about Su. The 8th prince says he doesn't know. "I've only realized now that the person I truly loved was probably he confesses. Queen Yanhua confronts the emperor, asking why he didn't visit their son's birthday, and why he can't trust his child. She needed to hear. Emperor Wang So replies, "I know that sooner or later, that child and you will be a threat to me." Yanhua asks if he still can't forget Su. "Because of Su, you issued a law freeing slaves and demanding equality for all. Now I finally understand why Su left you." The emperor visits their old spot when suddenly a child runs past, bumping into him. He's reminded of Su. The emperor asks who the child is, and the child's father arrives. It's the 14th prince's child, and today is the memorial day for Su. So they came to visit her grave in the palace. Seeing the child, the emperor becomes suspicious. How did he get married and have a child so quickly? As the 14th prince is about to carry the child away, the emperor sees the hairpin he gave to Su and stops them. The 14th prince kneels, begging. He told the emperor that Su begged him not to let the child enter the palace, fearing he would be lonely. It was her last wish and was to be fulfilled. The emperor understands that the child is his. If it were Su's wish, he wouldn't want to go against it. He rescinds the order, allowing the 14th prince to visit the palace occasionally. Jimong is leaving. The emperor sees him off, feeling heartbroken. Before leaving, the royal astronomer says, "Lady Su probably wasn't from this world, so I hope you'll forget her soon." Just then, a total solar eclipse occurs, turning the sky pitch black. In a different scene, a woman suddenly wakes up from a dream, crying. Who was he? She wonders. At work, the woman tells her friend that she keeps having a dream about a man with a long scar and a mask. Her friend says it's because of her amnesia. "It's been a year since you lost your memory." But the woman doesn't understand why she always cries when she has the dream. Su sees a man telling a history story, and his appearance seems familiar. The man then comes over to her, staring at her, making her uncomfortable. He asks if her name is Ha Jin. "Yes, my family name is Go," she replies. He asks if she knows the Go family name is from the Goryeo era. "It just so happens that we're promoting Goryeo culture and cosmetics." When the man mentions the scent of roses, strange images flash through her mind. As she leaves, Ha Jin passes a Goryeo era art exhibit and suddenly remembers everything: the ghost expelling ceremony, the rain-making ritual, and the portraits of the Goryeo kings. It wasn't a dream. Seeing the painting of her lover looking lonely in the exhibit, Su can only cry, apologizing for leaving him alone. On the other side, the 13th prince announces that the 8th prince has passed away. He then asks to leave the palace. All her close relatives had passed away. Now, the last of his loved ones has left him. Looking at the empty palace, the emperor says, "Life is but a fleeting dream." He wipes off his makeup, revealing the scar on his face. He vows, no matter what world Su is in, he'll find her. And that's the end of the series. Thank you for watching.